Hey guys! Ah, I can't wait! Hey everyone! Can you hear me okay? Can you hear the music okay? Does everybody hear everything okay? I have been sitting here for minutes. The 80s music. Yeah, I woke up really late, so I was just kind of like, this is what we're doing with my hair. We're just gonna put it up and whatever. I did not have time to do anything nicer. Give me a sec, I gotta watch this ad. Oh, are there ads? I'm sorry. I can't stay but hi! What's up, Zub? I left my Sims to be here. Oh, I hope your Sims are not upset. Okay, I'm here. Loving the arson going on in the background. Yeah, that's the season finale banner that we ended up not using. Probably because I designed it like one day before the LA fires, and then I told them, guys, I feel this might be insensitive. Perhaps we shouldn't put this up. And they're like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Good shout. I can hear it great. I stayed up until 4 a.m. Oh my gosh, illegal. I have one of your questions that I saved. So I have... Wait, why are they so tan? Oh, it doesn't show up right. Like, when I posted up the picture, it looks a little bit weird. In the original, it was just they had a big shadow on them. I'm at my grandparents' house, but whatever. Ooh, okay, hang on. I need to turn on, like, slow mode. It's going so fast I can't read it. Oh, apparently slow mode is for you guys and not for me. I forget how this works. I definitely don't have homework I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, I'm, like, not doing art right now, so, you know. Are there going to be spoilers? Mochi, yes, there will be spoilers. So if I were you, I would exit right now, and then once you're done reading, we are going to have, like, this whole video will be up on my YouTube, and I'll put a link to it on my creator feed so you can watch there, and you won't miss anything. But yeah, if you stick around, you're gonna hear really big spoilers, okay? Just so you know, guys, like, just up front, there is going to be Season 1 spoilers, because this is like a retrospective of everything in Season 1. Chat, I'm late. Nope, you're just on time. Hi, nice one. I should be doing schoolwork. Oh, speaking of like Napple, they're here too. Stream Napple. I binged it in one day. Totally not watching this without a birthday party. Aw. Okay, so anyways, I am like, oh. I got 2 hours of sleep, and then I woke up like early this morning and was like, I still gotta go see my personal trainer and work out for an hour. I'm gonna go. And then I went, and then my doctor got back to me and was like, we know what's wrong with your arm, and it's nothing that can be cured. Sucks to be you. So, I'm stuck in an ad, help! That's okay, don't worry, the ad will end. Every pineapple I think will like Napple. Yeah, me too, when I go to the store and I see a bunch of pineapples on display. Hey Nika, how's it going? There is no handy dandy Little Wonder Baggie in the finale, but maybe in Season 2. You don't know. Does anybody know how to tie a string bracelet? Oh, I don't know. I use my teeth. Like, it goes right up there. I want to romance Cashley. We were just talking about Cashley in the Patreon Discord. I ate a pineapple gummy. Oh man, I would kill for a bag of gummy bears right now. Like, after this is over, I'm gonna go to the all-night CVS and get pineapple flavored gummies. Cashley made me want to crash out. Or cash out. I think it's super funny that I just made up Cashley and I'm like, this is gonna be great because everybody's gonna hate her. And then everybody was like, Cashley's the best. I'm like, what? Like, I mean, if you like her, you like her. That's awesome. Good for you. I need a Cashley. She's too stupid to hate, really. Yeah, she's very Pacifica Northwest. Anyways, so I'm ready to go. Can you hear me now? I know, you can't hear me. Yeah. I don't know why picking up the mic made it stop working. It's been doing that, it's just OBS. It's been doing that forever. So now I'm using the mic connected to my crummy camera. I hope that's okay. Why did I buy this expensive microphone if I'm just gonna use the one on my stupid webcam? Hey, Los Angeles Star. Talking is overrated anyways. It's a bit weird now. Ugh. Can I just like... Hey, Hyro. It sounds the same as before? Okay, good. I hope so. Because, like, how's my silly kitty? I have my backdrop up right now, like this little room divider, because the cat is sleeping in another chair on the other side of the room and doesn't wish to be disturbed. And so when I started setting up for the stream, she gave me this look like, you better put the divider up, because I don't want to be bothered. #1 Likey fan. Okay. Alright, so guys, we're gonna get to the questions real fast. Right here. Cat stream instead? No. Hey Velcoco, I am super glad you read Stagtown. I have some things to tell you about Stagtown too, because some people asked for it. So, yeah, Mochi, if you really shouldn't have the series spoiled for you. You need to go finish it now, and then come back and watch this on YouTube. It'll be up on YouTube tomorrow. No big deal, but you're gonna get really, really bad spoilers, and like it's gonna wreck the whole story for you if you stick around, honestly. Just, we will do other streams, don't worry, you won't miss out. Don't worry, Nika, I will give Biz some love. Cat streams do get viewers, I know, but I'm busy. So, fine. Trust me, it'll be worth it. You don't want the end ruined for you, and I'm about to start talking about it, like, in just a few minutes here, so you really, really don't want the end ruined for you. Like, everybody in chat, tell Mochi that they don't want the end ruined for them. Everybody, you've all read it, right? I gotta go, dinner's ready. Don't worry, Animated Wave will see you later. No, don't ruin it. I like that I recognize most of these people come to the Webtoon comments. Yeah, Webtoon is really, they're really like, wow, like your community is like so tight-knit and they're all so nice. And I'm like, I think we just attract really cool people. Like, I don't know why, I feel like we just do. My hair is itching my neck. Anyways. I was just like, yeah, I don't know why, but like, Cinderella Boy fans are apparently the best fans. Go read and come back. Cleanest comment section. Yeah, you do still have the trophy for cleanest comment section. Anyone else getting the chat cooldown? Just me. Yeah, chat cooldown is on, so if you ask too many things at once, it's going to tell you to slow down. Oh, you got paint on your carpet? I've been there. As a cosplayer of many years, I've been there. So anyways, okay, so we are going to start now. So if you haven't read the series, please go do it now, because you're about to get mad spoiled if you don't. And you really don't want to get spoiled. I worked super hard on the finale. Okay, what have you cosplayed? Pretty much everything. I've been cosplaying since 99, so, because I am 43, so. Which apparently is still too young for arthritis, but if you have celiac, it still hurts. So, ooh, there's a height chest. Cute. Can you turn down the music? Yes, I can. Hang on just a minute. Yeah, sorry, I had to switch mics. Okay. How's that? Is that better? No more buddy fit funds. Yeah, just like Napple looking over the fit fund. I generally don't like these kinds of stories. Anyways, okay, so here we go. Music is better now? Perfect. Okay, great. We are going to start the questions now. And last time, by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, but I will remind you throughout that there is another Q&A stream, and it's on my YouTube channel. It's just, the YouTube channel is just Fun with Punko. Same as this. So there's a lot of questions on there. It's a really, involved Q&A, and there's a lot of things that got answered there already. So if I don't answer your question, you're like, oh no, I didn't get my question answered. It's probably because it was already answered in the other Q&A, and I just didn't want this one to be a repeat of the first one. So when you're done here, if you haven't watched the other one, go watch it. We have a lot of fun. It's super fun. This is a serious business. Yeah, Boba Cat's ready. I prepared. I watched the other one first. Okay. Okay, so here we go. I have, last stream I printed it out on paper, but this time like my arm was hurting, so I just screen capped on my phone. I have my phone on a little stand here. Everybody's questions. These aren't, I didn't arrange them this time in order based on like, what they're about or what the subject is or anything. They're just in the order that you posted them. So here we go. Let's go already. I'm ready for this. I've read the series thrice. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. So, Dragonfly Life asks, how much can the keys sense about the actions of their users? I'm assuming that means like while they're in the book. And the answer is they cannot. Once you put a key into a book, they have no idea what you're actually doing in the book while you're in there. I wish, I'm so bad at like promoting myself. I do have a Patreon which has diary entries of Chase and all his friends and everything. And if you're not in the Patreon, like, it's not essential for reading the story on Webtoon, but you are missing a ton of lore. Like, a lot of people here are in the Patreon and they can confirm there is a ton of lore. There's other keys that are like, Silver and Bronze's siblings and everybody that get mentioned. There's like how the keys work. There's adventures that Chase and Buddy and Deacon and everybody go into that we don't see because they happened in between episodes in the Webtoon. So there you go. The lore goes hard. Yeah, they get a lot of stuff. So here we go. Let's see. So that was that question. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted by checks. Chat's going so fast. Basil Eyes from the Patreon asks, at what point when you were writing this story did you think, yeah, let's make Buddy a key and a love interest? Pretty much from the beginning, Basil. It's pretty central to the story. So it had to be in there from the very beginning. It's not something that I mentioned this in the other Q&A that, when you're writing stories for Webtoon and or any story really, like a book, a movie, you kind of have most of it planned out. You can change things along the way, but as Pixar says in one of their 21 or 22 rules for storytelling, when you write a story, you figure out the end first, because endings are very hard to nail. You can mess around with stuff in the middle, but you need to know how it ends. You need to know how it starts and how it ends, and you need to know that first. So get it right the first time. So let's see here. Next question is by, I can't tell if it's Cool Al or Cool AI. So I'm going to go with both. How many more chapters can we expect in total? Season 2 will have around the same amount of chapters or episodes as season 1. I did mention that, if people like the series, there will be a season 3. The full story I want to kind of confine to 2 seasons. I originally wrote it for 2 seasons, but there can be a third expanded one that I would actually really, really like to get to because it's very funny. But, Pixar mentioned my Punko. I know a third of the people in this chat. When will season 2 come out? Well, I'm still working on the, during hiatus. People don't just go away for hiatus and then just sit around on a beach. Or maybe they do, I don't. We're expected to work on episodes in advance for the next season during hiatus, so that when we launch, we have, a handful of episodes to start with for free. When we have season 2, there will be 3 episodes. The day season 2 launches, there will be 3 episodes for you to read for free, and then there will be 5 more in FastPass. So I have to have at least 8 episodes done the day we launch, and then there have to be what we call a buffer, anywhere between 2, 5, some people even have 10 buffer episodes, so that if something bad happens during this, we get sick or something, something unseen happens, we won't have a delay and have to keep going on hiatus in the middle of the season. You've still got a buffer kind of built up to protect against that. Donald said, better stock up on coins. Triple update is crazy. Yeah. If you don't do season 3, can you at least show the script? If I don't do season 3, there is one very specific part, or should I say persons or people, that I will probably almost definitely repurpose into another story because I'm not letting that go. I was like, this is just too good. If I have to write an entirely separate story about something else, this is going to be in it. Sounds like a lot of work. It is. Most people go, I know people say like, oh, people go on hiatus for 6 months or even a year or something. I don't take long hiatuses. I do the absolute minimum to get the episodes done so we can launch again. Not just because like, oh, you know, because that's just how I am or whatever, because I can't afford to. Like, I can't afford to sit around on hiatus and not get paid. I don't know. I guess other artists have like other sources of revenue or bigger Patreons that they can kind of like live off of while they're on hiatus. I cannot. I cannot afford to simply stop working my only job for like 6 months at a time. So we will be back with season 2 in April of this year. So it's February now, just February and March. Give me February and March to do the episodes all built up for season 2 when we launch. And you'll have the hiatus episodes while we're doing that. And we'll be back in April. No time at all. Sorry. Come on. Like 8 weeks. Oh, wait. This is your job. I know. People are always like, they're just like, oh, wait. This is like your job? This is your job that you do? I'm like, dog, I work like 70 hours a week making this webtoon. I don't think I could have another job on top of this. I don't think it's not just you. Lots of people ask that, and I'm always baffled by it. I was like, do you really think that like you could do this whole thing on top of another job? It is a, oof. Yeah, my hands would fall off. Why do you think I have like arthritis at such a young age in my drawing arm? What the flip? Exactly. It is a ton of work. That's why a lot of people do take long hiatuses, because they have to recuperate. People who have like carpal tunnel or tendonitis in their hands, if they don't take those long breaks, they'll wreck their hands permanently. So do they expect that this perfectly well thought out webtoon came out of nowhere? Maybe people just, I don't know, a lot of people think artists, they're just like, ta-da, I did a thing and it's done, it's perfect. Like, no, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But I did want to do the hiatus episodes because, look, I just really wanted to do a mockery of a dating sim. And also because I feel like people get bored on hiatus or they forget about the series if they don't have anything to look at, and I wanted to do it. So anyways, now we're going to do another question. Dragon Scales 1021 asks, how does Deacon feel now that he's ridden a horse? Pretty good. I think he feels, when he was riding that horse in the finale, he was just like, finally, I did it. I did it. Good for me. As a writer, I understand your opinion. Yeah. Oh, you're making candy. I'm so proud of him. What vampire started Chase's obsession? Definitely Caspian Wolf's Blood, the guy he said he was going to marry in the Toffee Break arc. That was like his... What's that guy from Twilight? I don't watch Twilight. Edward, right? That guy? Edward Cullen, right? That is his name, right? Like, I'm like, I've never seen Twilight, so I'm like, I'm assuming that's it. Successfully yelled at a horse. That horse phase finally paid off. Alright. I love Twilight. Yeah, I never really got into it, but like, I know the names of like 2 people in it. You're gonna do an event episode. We try to do those, but sometimes my episodes just don't land on, well, I mean, for this year, like, we'll still be on hiatus during Valentine's Day, so there won't be that. April Fool's, I think we might miss that one. I don't think it even happens on a Monday. And I don't really like doing April Fool's ones, because, I don't know. It seems like everybody just, the minute you see it, you're like, oh, this is April Fool's. Like, no, nobody's actually fooled by that. But, you need a Deacon villain arc, please. Thank you. Deacon's gonna go places in season 2, that's what I'll say. Okay, next question. Let's see here. Chigemizu Eke asks, what was your favorite scene from season 1, and what was your inspiration to making the keys in general? Well, I already talked about the inspiration for the keys in the first Q&A, which
watch that. My favorite scene from season 1. Probably everything in the vampire arc was super funny to me. Like, because my friends and I have friends who work in publishing and work in like young adult, like romantasy fantasy thing, and they're just like, can you please do a takedown of all those terrible, terrible vampire books? Like the really generic, mediocre ones that people just keep churning out. I was like, I got you. I think I liked the part where Deacon is walking down the hallway and he looks and sees the moon through one window, and then he looks on the other side of the hall and sees the moon through the other window, and he's just like, I hope whoever wrote this never worked again. Like, I really loved doing cheesy stuff in that arc where like the moon is constantly in every single window, despite the fact that it would have to be on like all sides of the building. It's midnight and a full moon for apparently like a week. Like, the wolves are really badly done. I thought that was extremely funny. And like, we just Vampire Prince was, well, we call him Vampire Prince, technically a duke. He was one of the first things that I was just like, guys, wouldn't it be funny if? And I was talking to my friends Sene and Karen, who you will see getting joke credits at the end of almost every episode, or the beginning of every episode, because they're my friends. But yeah, that was, honestly, there's like a lot. I liked the one where Deacon was a horse, and Chase was trying to sit on him to go for a ride, and the horse just sits down and rolls him off his back. I was like, it's really hard to draw a horse sitting, but I'm determined. Nico is here. MVP paused. That's right. At one point, the credits changed to MVP paused because paused is my little brother, and he basically saved the episode that week. It was half an hour late because Comcast did a bunch of work in my area and wrecked my internet. You guys have no idea what was going on behind the scenes. Like, I was losing my mind. I was running around, like, down to the core area trying to get like a Wi-Fi signal to try and upload. I did everything possible to try and get this episode done. And then my brother calls me and gets on the phone with me and walks me through a bunch of tech things and manages to fix it. So the episode was only about like 30 minutes late. And I was just like, oh my God, my brother's the best. The stress. Yeah, I actually I caved and asked my Discord. I'm like, guys, what do we do? And so, yeah, it was pretty great. But so yeah, my brother really helped out on that. Hi, Nico. All right. Okay, so Jumble Ked asks, was Buddy being a key the plan since the very beginning? Yes. It was so hard not to tell you guys. Like, people are like, oh man, I'm a fast passer. I have to wait 5 weeks until everybody else finds out. I'm like, dog, I've been waiting like 2 years. I was just like, I almost blurted it out in Patreon accidentally when I was typing something in the spoiler chat, and I typed it and I was about to hit send because I was really tired. I was like, oh my God, I had to like go back and like delete. Especially with all the key deniers. Well, I can see why. Okay, a bunch of people, like people getting shut down as theorizers in the beginning. I will tell you right now, I have it saved in one of these folders on my monitor. I think it was Bella Yin, I think is the user, who said in episode 6, hey, what if Buddy is actually a key, like the villain key or something? Like, that was the whole comment. And it was episode 6, and I saved it, like, want to give a trophy, like, congrats, you're the first person who theorized that. Chase is no better than Deacon. No, it's funny because in some ways Chase and Deacon are very alike. Well, it's to be determined if he's an actual key or has a key form or is something different. When I say key, I just mean tiny person. Like, is he different on the outside of the books as he is on the inside? We don't know what his circumstance is yet, especially since he hinted that he has not always been as he is. But when I say key, I just mean like small people. Because of something from the first Q&A. Secret hidden very well. Anyways. Okay, so Live Slug Reaction asks, why did Violet give Buddy a demon-themed outfit for the vampire arc? A lot of people guessed the reason for that. The reason for that is that Buddy asked for something non-vampire because he was under the impression that Chase was afraid of vampires. And so she gave him little fangs, but just like little ones. I don't know, Violet has her reasons, I guess, but yes, I think Buddy was like, ease up on the vampire look. I don't want to look too vampire, because he was afraid Chase would, like, I guess not like him. His teeth are baby, yeah. Well, I knew it. Well, I said it. It's true. Yes, finally those silver bookmarks went out. You have no idea. I said in Discord, I was just like, people are like, finally, I got my bookmark from, like, the orders in summer. I'm like, oh, so my threat to go all the way over to Spring headquarters and push all their cars off a cliff actually went through. I was screaming at those people. They're like, oh, there was a problem with orders over, they had an excuse for everything. But I was on them for, like, I was on them like Chase on a vampire for, like, quite a while, trying to get them to send those out. So I'm glad they finally went out. Let's see here. If Spring is holding your Stagtown hoodie hostage, you need to write directly to them. I can't do that. They're like, oh, we'll just have people write through the, you know, regarding their order. I don't have your order number, but if you write to them and yell at them, they will send it out fast. Just know, I am wearing it. Oh, Lava, if it was bent in the box, you send that back and say, I demand a new one. If it was bent in the box, you go, oh, it's at your old house. You should, okay, Heavenly Plays, if they sent it to the wrong address, you should also write to them and say, you took so long on this, I didn't have time to update my, yeah. If you have a problem like that, write to them, yell at them, say like, no, you sent me a bent one, or you sent it to the wrong address because you said these would be shipped in September and it's like friggin' February now. I demand another one. Demand another one. They will give you one. That's the thing. They'll give it to you. Wait, they have more to replace them? I don't know how many they have, but you can demand a replacement. If they sent you a broken one, if you say it's bent, a steel bookmark that's bent is broken. You say, my item is broken, I want another one. So there. I'm not an Arcane fan, but that's because I don't watch anything. I don't have TV or streaming services. I don't have Netflix or Hulu or anything, Disney Plus. That's how I get so much work done. I don't watch things. And they said they would have been, look, if they tell you something has been shipped or whatever, get on them. Successful processing is slow and they only gave me a refund. That's why when people are, I'll get to it. Some people have been asking like, oh, what about merch for Cinderella Boy? And I was like, I'm looking at another place. I refuse to sell with them anymore. We'll get on that, but we're going to go at a place that actually fulfills things. It's ridiculous. By the way, those Stagtown hoodies that are so cool, they're like what? Over $64 a piece. Do you know how much I make off of them? $1.50. And Spring keeps the rest for processing and fulfillment. What? Yeah. When people are like, wow, I got this hoodie, I'm so glad I'm supporting the artist. I looked the other day and they're like, yeah, you make $1.50 off of these like almost $70 hoodies. I'm basically selling them for you guys. Because if I raised them enough that I would actually get a profit, I could set it so that I would get like $10 a piece for those things, but then you'd have to pay more. So I set it to the absolute minimum of $1.50. That's the minimum I'm allowed to take as a cut so that you guys wouldn't have to pay a lot for them. At one point, they raised the base price to the point where basically I wasn't getting paid at all for them. It was like a whole thing. What the actual? What are the best ways to support you? My Patreon. But also, oh wait, I threw it out. Well, I have another one. I'll make another one. Everybody here knows the WUB Club, W-U-B. It stands for Weekly Unique Browser Hits. It is, if you can't fast pass, and some people just can't, that's no big deal. Some people can't afford it. Some people are young. Their parents won't buy them coins, or they have to work and earn a living, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you can't support through FastPass, which is the best way to support a series, the second best way is to join the WUB Club, W-U-B, Weekly Unique Browser Hits. They are very important to Webtoon. All it means is that you just come back once a week and look at the episode. That's it. Just read the episode once a week. The worst, well, actually the best way to kill a series is to binge it. Basically. Proud member of the WUB Club. Yeah, like... It's just, Wub, 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 wub. Yeah, we all love the Wub Club. The worst thing you can do to a webtoon is be like, well, I'll binge it when the series is like at least one season in. Basically, that just means you visit the series once, and webtoon is just like, well, they only came one time. I guess they don't like the series. You know? If you come every single week and read the new episode every week, then it really helps. And it's the best way to support without paying anything whatsoever. Wub, wub, wub. Oops, me who binge reads in a few days. Well, if you just found the series, that's not your fault. It's not like you could have gone back in time or anything. But yeah, just come back once a week and be in the Wub Club. My cat is playing with something and I can see her on the other camera. What are you doing, Biz? If you're eating ribbons off the floor, you're in trouble. Would you like to see everybody? Come here. Come on. Come. It's not a trick, I promise. It's not a trick. Well, come on then. There you are. You whiny little animal. Kitty. Oh, you sweat. What are you getting all squealy for? No, she doesn't want to be on camera. She's like, I didn't even have time to do my hair and makeup. My God. Yeah, that was a fast cat. Sorry. She's really wiggly today. She doesn't want to hold still. Anyways, so next question from Rin's Soul. When is the next season coming? We answered that in April. Thank you, Rin. Ellie.ex asked, throughout season 1, Prunella has been chucked into the lawn and the ceiling. She's having a hard time making friends, minus Goldie, and she got turned to paper. Is she doing okay? I'll check for Prunella. Prunella is an incredibly indestructible child. She's actually quite tough. She's not just a survivalist expert for looks. She's actually quite tough. But she's okay. She's fine. Does it help to reread past episodes? I mean, as long as it makes you come back every week. Also, if you want to leave comments on past episodes and likes, I noticed that, what is it? I think it's like 10,000 people have answered the poll for this week's hiatus episode. But even though 10,000 people answered the poll, only 6,500 people gave it a like. So I know you forget, honestly. You do forget. You're just like, oh, I forgot, because the like button is so tiny. That's why I put Like Napple there, so that he will guide you to the like button. But leaving a like, leaving a comment, even if it's just like great or like a heart emoji or whatever, any kind of engagement helps. And also, if you mention it on other platforms, I saw someone who said to another fan, they were like, I saw your posts on Pinterest about this series and I decided to check it out and now I love it. And I was like, wow, like somebody posted on Pinterest. They just posted up like, a screenshot from an episode and said they really liked it or whatever. Or they put together a video. I don't exactly know what post it was, but someone else saw it on Pinterest and came to go see. So, I've been talking about my baby Prunella and I've been trapped by an ad. I'm sorry. I didn't even know about the like button. That's okay. I didn't know about it at first either. It's so small, I once had a forever error. It was only halfway logged in. That's impressive. Yeah, it haven't got to me yet. Yeah, I've got uBlock on my browser. Okay, so Monty the Artist asks, how did Buddy handle Chase's care packages / the tote with food? Did he have to haul it out of the book, then haul it back into another book so he was big enough to take the multivitamins and open the chocolate bars? Or did him and Violet tag team to open everything? I think we'll see what they did with the supplies. But yeah, if you're smaller, it's definitely a lot more to handle. Obviously, Chase was not expecting that that Buddy in real IRL Buddy would be much smaller than the bag itself. Did he share with Violet? We'll see. Don't worry. It's helping me a lot during. Chris is trying. I'm glad. It makes me happy when people are like, I had a really bad day, but this made it better. It makes me feel like when my dad was really sick and I just kept watching Gravity Falls, like, all the time. And for some reason, I don't know why. I think it's because, like, Grunkle Stan on that show kind of, like, reminds me of my dad and looks like my dad a little. That for some reason, it just helped me out a lot. A lot of people are just like, oh, you're an artist. And you're like, well, yeah, I'm a comic book artist. They're like, oh, well, then not important art. And I was just like, Like, if I could just go on a tangent for a minute here, like, what is important art? I mean, when you're sad and you've had like a terrible day and you come home and you just want to feel better, are you just like, well, time to settle in with Smetana's The Moldau, turn on classical music, time to comfort eat in front of one of Van Gogh's paintings? No, you watch your favorite show or read your favorite dumb book or like rewatch your favorite movie. Those are important to you. I want to write stories that are important to maybe just a few people, but it really helped them out and made them feel better. It doesn't have to move all of humanity. It's probably not going to, and that was not really the point. But you know, it's just one of those shows where like, I don't know, I was just in a really like bad funk, and then like I just kind of like binged it a whole bunch and felt better. I can't believe we're getting a movie. Yes, I will talk about Stagtown. Did you see my very important question? Unfortunately, it's going by real fast, G-Heart. Okay, here we go. So, Soft Cushion asks, I remember from the last Q&A there were some things or details in the story that you thought we as the readers would pick up on quickly, but didn't. AKA Silver being sarcastic from time to time. Now that season 1 is over, can you tell us some more things that we missed? Yes, I was so certain that Mochi the Ochi, hi. I was so certain that everybody would notice that Buddy's eyes are weird. Like every other human, including humans in the storybooks, even storybook people have the same eye. They have a black circle with a black, you know, pupil in the middle, and then like a half moon of shadow in black, and then a white highlight. And then, you know, the color of their eye is filled in. Buddy is the only one without eyes like that because he's, you know, not like other people. I noticed. Comfort eat in front of Mozart. I'm sure that's somebody's idea of a good time. But, yeah. We did notice. We just kept pushing it away. Yeah, some people noticed. It was weird. Like they didn't just like connect. I just felt, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this in, and they're gonna get it immediately because people are so smart. And then there are other things where I'm just like, they probably won't ever notice this, and then they totally do. And I'm like, wow, that's me. I didn't think too deeply into it. Chase, he's not like other boys. Dark heart. I love the Moldau. Well, I did mention the Moldau because I do like it. Anyways, let's see here. Lava Rosada, you're here. How much input does Nox have in the outfits that Violet makes for him? Was it simply make something other than the striped fit that goes with the story, I trust your judgment? Or did he say, make me look hot at all times, I have notes? Violet has her own ideas of what fashion is. And I still don't even know the 4 lore. It's just a thing that started in the Patreon Discord. They like started a joke that the number 4 was very important to season 1, and then they started trying to find every instance of the number 4. And yes, the Stagtime movie is not streaming. It's going to movie theaters. I'm sure eventually, once it's out of theaters, it will stream somewhere. Anyways, so I think Buddy has some influence over the outfits that Violet makes for him, but not many. Here's something that if you're not in the Patreon, you don't know because it's mentioned in Chase's diary. Silver mentions it. When you take a key and insert it into a book, the key has what they call slow time, which is they have about like 2 minutes where between you inserting the key and you going into the story, which feels like no time at all to you, time kind of slows down for them, and they can just sort of like sit there and look at what the story is about because they instantly know what the story is about when they're inserted into the book, and then they can kind of like put together an outfit. So that's the time when Silver takes to make outfits for Chase that might look good in the story. And I don't know what Bronze does during slow time. He just kind of like sits around and just like half-asses something at the last minute. He's been getting better about that. You know, he did make Deacon that really kick-ass like princely costume for the finale because Silver told him to. Today's my birthday. Is that why Chase was falling when he was in the first book? It's not explained in the series. I was going to explain it in the Patreon, then I was just like, it really doesn't matter all that much. But my idea was that the reason that Chase is falling in the very first story is because Silver is cracked and potentially hasn't been used in a while. So she's like kind of trying to get back into what she's doing, even though she's not conscious really to make it happen. So it's like the magic is struggling to put him into the character he's supposed to be in. So like when you have like GPS going on your phone and you're like, okay, take me here. And the GPS is like, okay, but then every so often it'll just like, for some reason it'll glitch and like flail wildly and say you're in the middle of the river. And you're like, I'm not in the Hudson River. And it's like, oh, right, sorry. And it'll like keep trying to put you back to where you really are on the map. And then it'll just be like, oh, right, and get it. That was a moment where the key was trying hard to get Chase to where he's supposed to be in the story, but actually like accidentally spawned him in the sky. And was like, oops, sorry, like, put back in. Isn't that following what sparked Inko to write Keys Are People Too? I don't know. Nah, you're already spilling facts. I need to be in the webtoon. Anyways, like, is there an insane... Okay, well, we'll talk about that. Don't worry. Chase is a cutie, good name, wrote, will we know what was written in the letter that Silver wrote in season 2? Yes. We will. Mari143000, are the keys actually a family, or do they just consider themselves one? I mean, technically a family are people who are, you know, biologically related, but then you have like found family sort of thing. They're not biological creatures, so they can't physically be related, but they do all consider themselves to be family. Let's see here. We don't know when Buddy's birthday is. Chase's birthday is the end of July. Oh, the streams on YouTube. I haven't put the other one up yet. It was kind of like meandering. I don't like, there was a Q&A stream and then there was just like a regular stream. I usually don't put regular streams up on YouTube. I just put the Q&As up. I mean, like, I guess I could cut the other one down. I think there's like a long, it wasn't that interesting. It's like a long time where I just talk about like going to the dentist. Okay, Deacon's real life, good name. Is Deacon aware that Chase likes Nox/Buddy? If so, does he think it's just a phase, or is he just ignoring them because he's the enemy? I think at this point, Deacon is just like, he's seen a lot of Chase's like silly crushes that don't really go anywhere. Like, that Chase has like celebrity crushes or like just like random crushes, and they just don't really, you know, he basically he's like, oh my god, and has like this very like big crush on someone and then immediately like forgets about it and moves on. So I think Deacon may be either thinking or hoping at this point that this is just one of Chase's goofy little like kind of a crush on someone, but like not really going to do anything about it. Deacon's used to this. Let's see here. Havner asks, so we can see that Chase's hoodie is still normal size when Buddy has it with him. With that logic in mind, how is Buddy able to eat all that chocolate in the bag? I mean, we don't know that he's eaten it all yet. He might still have some. By the way, it's not answered here, but people have been asking it. Like, I mean, it's not answered. Nobody asked it here, but people have been asking in comments and on the Discord and everything, if Buddy had the red hoodie IRL, like outside of the book, how did he get back into the book with it if he couldn't put it on? They're like, did he drag it? Did he have to like hold onto a part of it? I will tell you right now, he put part of it in his mouth. he basically just like I have lipstick on, but he just bit the sleeve, because then part of it is in his mouth. It's inside of him, and so it comes with him. So he just had to like march up to the book and like put the sleeve, part of the sleeve in his mouth, and be like, okay, let's go! Put the key in. Who hasn't carried things in their mouth? You did actually lick it, then it's his. Lunchtime's over, bye! Bye, Hyro. Now beating the cat allegations. He did left it, yes. The Potato of Change asks, how would centaurs feel about Deacon? Do they hate him by default, or is it more of a mixed feeling due to being only half horse? I believe it would depend on the centaur. It would depend on their own specific personality. Venomous Sheep asked, will Cinderella Boy ever be printed as a physical comic? I want to. I want to make a book of it. I think eventually we will print books of it, but I mean, that wouldn't be at least until after season 2. because I want to put them in a set. Would the keys work in an ebook? No, it has to be a bound book. It doesn't work on cameras. I keep thinking like camera phone. It doesn't work on phones or screens. Did you manage to get the season 2 draft materials back from Like Apple? I did, but not without cost. Not Amethyst26 asks, is Prunella autistic? Just curious because I'm autistic and I relate a lot to her. I am not a doctor, so I cannot diagnose people accurately or even know specifically what symptoms would relate to what. But I feel that Prunella is at the very least neurotypical. You can tell she's very serious for a child. She doesn't smile quite as much as the other characters do. She's very dead serious and tends to take things at face value. Like when Chase comes up the ladder once and he's like, there you are, Prunella. And she's like, here I am, Prunella. She has like a very unique way about her. I'm sorry, did I say neurotypical? I meant neurodivergent. Sorry. Look, I had 2 hours of sleep and I had to work out today. Did you have fun with this season? I did. Probably the most fun I've had working on a comic in like forever. Actually, maybe ever. Who knows? Can the keys enter academic books? If they have a story. If they're just like a non-fiction kind of thing, then... So, okay, I cannot say this name. Taehunce. Taehunce. I cannot. I'm so sorry. I don't want to butcher your name. When Deacon and Prunella got turned into what seemed paper, did they feel any physical pain? No, they weren't really aware. It kind of happened super fast. And then they snapped out of it later. Like, you see when they get out of the book in the finale, Prunella even asks what's happened and does not... She says, what happened? We were doing something. She doesn't seem to remember being turned to paper. Paper Titanic! So maybe history books could work. They could... they really work best if it has like a story has a nice narrative beginning, middle, and end. See here, what was your favorite episode to write, or who was your favorite character to write? I mean, if we're talking the entire thing plus the hiatus, we were just laughing about Cashley McMansion. I do like writing Cashley McMansion. She's so... I'm thinking of cosplaying her. What do you think? Just like putting my hair up in like the blonde pigtails and getting like the money bows. I love Cashley. She's very funny. Let's see here. But other than the hiatus, who's my favorite character to write? I like Chase just because like the stuff that comes out of that kid's mouth. Like you don't even know. It's just like, well, I'm sure you took that like a mature adult. He's like, nope, I printed that email out and ate it. Like, the stuff that comes out of this kid's mouth is unreal. People who voted for Buddy, I know who you are. You can't fix him. But now they're like, we can fix Cashley. Yeah, people really change on a dime like that. It's great. Will you ever release other hiatus endings? I mean, it would be a lot of work for me to do, but I'm not opposed to putting up... By the way, even if you don't want to pay for my Patreon, you can join as a free member. You don't have to pay anything. You can join as a free member, and every so often I put out free content for you. So right now there's a couple videos up that are free, and I was thinking after the hiatus, I will put up free content showing you like alternate versions of what would have happened in the hiatus if you picked other choices, like just a couple of things. Really? Yes. You can join for free. Horse God. Yeah, there is a video about Horse God. And, I'm gonna steal your outfit. Amazon, like 20 bucks. Honestly, ever since Chase fixed Dressfur, I ain't gonna tell y'all anymore. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people were just kind of like, oh, GTZL! We have been all over your art in the Discord. Everybody keeps posting it up. They think it's so cute. GTZL is on Tumblr and does adorable, giant, tiny art of like really big Chase and little tiny Buddy. And you should check them out. And we've been posting it a lot. Like, you won't even believe the Discord, like, talks a lot about what goes on Tumblr. We have a lot of our favorite artists on Tumblr that we follow. I remember when, I don't know if Squirrel is here. Squirrel. I don't know if it's Squirrel. But they posted up a bunch of theories that ended up being proven mostly right in the finale, and we were all like watching, like Squirrel's guardian angels, just like, we must protect this child. Don't let anybody spoil it for them. We want them to know that they're right. Oh, I love Squirrel. Are you American? I was born in Kansas, but I grew up in Europe, in Germany, and then I moved back here. Anyways. I know Squirrel. Yeah, we all very much like Squirrel. So, let's see here. I'm squealing? Someone in the fan Discord told me you all were posting it. No. Every time you post something, GT, every time you post something, they repost it. Like, did you see the newest thing? Did you see the newest thing that GT's all put up? Like, look at it. And we all enjoyed it very, very much. It reminds me of when I was in the Portal 2 fandom years and years ago, and they had a very giant tiny thing with like giant Android Wheatley and Tiny Chell, and it reminds me of back then and looking at stuff on Tumblr, and so I was like, oh, nostalgia. Anyways, I talked to Squirrel. Yeah, we were like, everybody was just like, it was like Squirrel had their own like secret unknown bodyguard of people who were like, nobody let anyone ruin this for Squirrel. We really want them to feel good about being right about this, because they had so many right theories. There was like a task force. It was just like, anybody who sees any leaks anywhere of the finale, you cut that down before Squirrel sees it. And everybody else too. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Are you into GT? I think it can be kind of cute sometimes. If you like giant tiny stuff, I have an old series called Toyetica that is literally that. There was an entire race of tiny little people called Biddles who are about 6 inches tall, who live alongside humans and get jobs as models for toys. So, you know, they would go to Hasbro and Mattel and sell themselves as toy models. So they'd have like their own accessories, their own outfits. Then they went to a school called Dollington Academy to learn to be more toyetic, and they would pitch themselves to toy companies at graduation. It was very cute. So, let's see here. Toyetica! I'm hoping to put up, you know, I'll think about it in like the next 2 weeks, like to put up for sale just for like, for nothing, for like 99 cents, the digital issues of Toyetica, maybe on my Patreon, just so everybody can see them, and because they're not sold anywhere anymore, and which sucks because they got great reviews and it was going to get a cartoon. But then the pandemic happened and the animation company was just like, we shut down. It was this whole thing. Anyways, so Rose Meals IRC writes, what was your favorite episode to write, or who was your favorite character to write? Okay, we answered that. Deacon's real wife, again. Will non-Patreon users ever find out how Chase got sick at Ross's party? Some things are just bonus content for Patreon, and honestly, it's such a long story. It really is, and it involves Deacon and that girl he liked from school and Ice Pop Rocket Time. It's a long story. Also, are we going to meet new characters in Season 2? Yes, you will. I'm very excited for them. I like them. Illegal, who is here, or Illegal. Will we ever go into stories that aren't fairy tale? I know that's the whole webtoon, but I'd love to see them enter a musical or something. Yes, they will be going into other genres of books in Season 2. I'm very, very excited for that. If you're into Patreon, you've seen hints at other books that they've gone into in between the ones we've seen on Webtoon, so look for that. Give me the lever key and my life is yours! I'll join the Patreon and you can meet them. AO212. How did Nox bring Chase's hoodie back with him since Nox is so small in comparison? We explained that. Also, can we have more middle part Nox in the future? I think everybody will get different hairstyles. Everybody will. Except for Chase, who thinks his hair is perfect all the time. But maybe he'll get something. Who knows? I thought only other genres would only be mentioned in Chase's diary. No. Season 2 is where you open up. When you do Season 1 of something, you know, you establish the whole world and how things work. Season 2 is where you start to expand on everything and open up like a bigger cast and bigger places to go, that sort of thing. You don't want to do a Season 2 that's just like Season 1 but a little bit different. Season 2 is bigger and better in every way. Will they ever switch keys? I don't know. We'll have to watch. Chase's hair is perfect. Got a bigger can of worms. Will we ever see Diane? Maybe. I want to see Deacon with a cooler haircut glow this man up. I don't know if I mentioned it. Guys, did I mention it in the first Q&A? In season 1, there was an episode titled Deacon Gets a Makeover. And it is exactly what it sounds like. He did get a makeover. But, do you have any tips for making a webcomic? You know what? I was thinking of just sitting down one day and filming some really quick videos to put on YouTube with my top webtoon tips. There's so many out there, I figured, like, why does anybody want to listen to me talk about it? But I could do it if you want. Season 2 Raven is. Deacon's perfect the way he is. Well, if you guys have noticed, I do a season where there's, like, no filler. I don't like filler episodes. Filler is killer. Because it's a waste of everybody's time. It's a waste of everybody's fast pass money when they're just like, I can't wait to see what happens next. You're like, okay, but now here's the thing where everybody goes to the diner and talks about nothing for an entire episode. Thanks for wasting your coins. I hate that. Like, if you're dedicated to reading the series, I'm dedicated to not wasting your time. And the Deacon Gets a Makeover episode was funny, but it was also... It didn't really have any point that moved the story in any way that couldn't be done in another episode. And so I just kind of axed it. We might bring back elements of it in season 2, like a little bit, but not the full thing. Okay, let's see here. Hot take maybe, but I kind of love filler. I don't like useless filler, you know? Also, I only get so many episodes. Here's the thing. People think you can just sit down and do a webtoon and be like, all right, webtoon, I shall be doing 100 episodes this season. They'll be like, no, we'll give you like 40. If people like it, maybe you can have more. But we're not just going to give you an indefinite, write your own check for the next like 5 years kind of thing. Like, it is a job. They're not going to keep employing you to do the job. If you're not making them any money, that's silly. That's like just a huge waste of money. So they're like, they start you out with some episodes. It's like building credit, you start out with some episodes, and then if people like it, you get an agreement to do more episodes. So the more you like episodes and comment on them and come back every single week, and most importantly, fast pass, the more episodes there will be. It's the only episode I've bought coins for. Aw, thanks. Do they have favorite colors? Chase's favorite color is teal and pink. Right there. I think Buddy's is gray. Deacon's is orange. And Prunella likes green. Will you develop the Greatest Hiatus into an actual game? I'd like to, but it is so much more work than you can possibly imagine. Eventually, someday, it would be fun to do. But if I did, I had the idea to do... It would still be a Cinderella Boy, like, Otome visual novel game, but it wouldn't be exactly the same plot as the Greatest Hiatus. It would have more in it and it would be different. That way you're not just... Because you're already going to have seen one run of it in the hiatus, so it would be slightly different. Anyways. Have you seen the Glow Art stuff? I've heard of Glow Art. I vaguely went on their page for a minute. I was just like, I don't have time to read this. I guess it's like a place where you upload visual novels. Okay, here we go. Buddy's chocolate addiction. All right, Squirrel asked a question. Are Stagtown and Chasers happening in the same universe, just different towns? Stagtown and Cinderella Boy do not share a universe, thankfully. If the key holders ruin the setting of a story while in the story, leave the book, then enter it again. Will the setting be all right again? This is tricky. If they earned a certain amount of serotonin while they were in there, and then they try to go back in, they will be shut out. You generally can only do the book once. You can enter back in, like, there are certain circumstances. Like, Deacon was able to re-enter the cat book because Chase was still in it. He's got, like, the door held open for him. Sorry, like, he's got his foot in the, like, Chase has his foot in the door and Deacon can sneak back in. But, generally speaking, if you do a book once, you can't really do it again. Does Prunella's dad, like, exist? He does. We will see him later. He travels to, again, it's covered in the lore that's in the Patreon. He travels to give corporate presentations. That's like his passion in life. And his wife is like, okay, honey, I'll stay here and run my passion in life, the bed and breakfast. You go out there and be the best corporate presenter you can be. But he does come home quite a bit often to visit with them, so. I've been pronouncing serotonin all wrong. It's okay. It's narrative serotonin. Serotonin being the chemical in your brain that causes happiness. It is the happiness of stories. Alright. Let's see here. I'm curious how similar keys are to humans, for example. Oh, this is by Glee the Best? G-L-E the Best. Do they cry? Can they die? Do they need to use the toilet? They do not need to use the toilet. If by die you mean they could be destroyed, I guess you could take a hammer to the keys and break them forever and then they'd be dead. Why would you? Do they cry? Keys in general cannot cry tears. They have no tear ducts. Gucci Vuitton. How many days, weeks, months has Chase been doing this book thing, and how many has he known Buddy for? How frequently do they go into books, like 1 or 2 a day? About how many books have they done in season 1? I know there are books they did that we either don't see much of or don't see at all. Gucci, you're my bestie, but I do not answer these questions simply because I learned my lesson on Stagtown. If I give a specific number about certain things, somewhere, somebody is going to write it down, and then they're going to write back to me, and they're going to go, but Punko, if they did 72 books since the beginning of summer, that would average out to approximately this many this day, which would average out to this and this, but they're gone on Fridays to go see Chase. It would be ridiculous. Like, that was one of the things that drove me really depressed about Stagtown, is people would constantly nitpick. And you get that with horror fans a lot more than comedy fans. I don't really want to tie anything down in this series. We're just here to have fun. Like, don't think about it too hard. I hate nitpicking. Oh, you wouldn't believe what they did in Stagtown. Oh. It was like, actually, the tensile strength of a newly bought store rope is approximately 250 pounds, give or take approximately 10 pounds. So if Frankie tied the rope off to that tree and then climbed down, and assuming Frankie is approximately 5'6" for an average or above average woman, she would only be approximately 150 pounds, so the rope wouldn't have broken. I'm like, what are you getting out of this, friend? Somebody paying you to be like this? Like, what do you get out of this? Or like, actually, a 4-pack of safety road flares would not cost that much in Pennsylvania. Yes, it would, because I went directly to Dick's Sporting Goods to reference that. I looked it up. But yeah, there were a lot of people like that, and it just dragged on me. Every time I said something, people would obsess over it and then try to like fit it into the rest of the story. Or they said, will you draw a map of Stagtown? And I said, God, no, because then I would have to sit down for weeks and figure that out. And if I had them going down some street in the panel and then they turn left and somebody would take that map and they would just be like, well, they couldn't turn left here onto Windsor Street. It doesn't go left. I'm like, I just want to draw my comic, you guys. Is it possible to read the Canvas version anywhere? No, but you really didn't miss much. Honestly, we'll get into that because somebody asked about that too. Okay, so Just Sleep Gigi. Are the dispositions and personalities of all the keys affected by which characters they're made to represent? Silver is a heroine, sweet, good, kind, and lovely. Goldie is a hero, chivalrous, protective. Bronze is a helper, quiet, observant, and comes out of the woodwork when needed. Are Violet and Nox actually mean, cruel, or evil? How much of their dispositions and personalities? I'll tell you right now, like, none of the keys are mean. Like, they have their own kind of, like, some of them can be sassy, but they're not jerks. I think they are slightly influenced by who they are, like who they're supposed to represent, but they're also their own people. I mean, it's not generally accepted that heroes are all like kind of rock stupid and obsessed with gummy bears, but Goldie is. It's not accepted that helpers are terminally lazy, but Bronze is. So, how long is the stream? It's 9 now. We got a ways to go, maybe like 10:30. Anyways, let's try to beat the key stereotypes. 2025. Yeah, Silver can be kind of sarcastic a little bit. All right, let's see here. I can't say it. Eyalees, Eyalees. Was Chase always a small-sized child / short due to genetics, or was it because of his celiac? I've read somewhere that children with celiac tend to be small. And even though he can take the short jokes, I was wondering if he knows it could have affected his height. Good call. Yes, Chase is shorter because he has celiac, and he's had it since he was a kid. Children with celiac often end up being shorter because they are deprived of nutrients, because celiac is a disease that wrecks your intestines so that you can't absorb nutrients from food as much. It's one of the reasons I now have arthritis in my shoulder, despite the fact that I am generally too young to have arthritis. It wrecks. It's not just boo-hoo, you can't eat bread. It wrecks a lot of you. So Chase is short because of celiac. So I think he's used to the short jokes, but it kind of upsets him that, like, the window of him being able to get taller, like puberty is pretty much closed on this guy, and he keeps hoping for a growth spurt, but he knows that he will likely be very short forever because of his celiac. And yet he does not complain about it. He doesn't complain about being short. He doesn't complain about having celiac. He doesn't complain about the fact that having celiac means later on in life he will most likely have a slew of diseases, just like me. If you're not extremely careful about it, you can end up with 4 different kinds of the worst cancer you've ever heard in your life, and rheumatoid arthritis, and osteoporosis, and dementia, and scoliosis. You have to be incredibly careful with celiac. I have to be hyper vigilant of every last thing I eat. I have to stay in very good shape. I now have a personal trainer to work out with twice a week. It's a big expense, but I have to do it, especially since he's also a physical therapist, so he's going to be able to work with me on my shoulder and everything. It's just what you have to do. When you have celiac, your whole life becomes horrifically high maintenance, and all you want to do is just sit around. Chase be taller than me because I'm barely 5 feet. Yeah, I put him between 5'1" and 5'3". Celiac, rheumatoid arthritis, and diabetes all tend to come together. Yeah, I've so far avoided diabetes. I've kept my weight down and everything to try and avoid it. I really hope I don't end up with it. But I'm gonna eat your arthritis. Look, I went to go see James when I was working out today. I was like, James, I've had 2 hours of sleep. Let's kill this session. And we went in there and he was like, he's like, let me see you do some, like, gave me, like, the heaviest bells I could hold. And was like, let's see what you can do up. I know you got that shoulder. I was like, I'm gonna wreck it. I'm just gonna wreck it. I hit some really good new reps. I'm feeling good. I was just like, if I have to be saddled with this disease, I'm gonna do everything I can to stay on top of it. Oh, by the way, big difference from last Q&A, I quit drinking soda. And if you don't think that's impressive, bear in mind that like 10 years ago, I was up to like 8 cans of soda a day. During Stagtown, I would regularly drink 2 to 3 cans of Monster a day. Really big ones. And I'm not expecting the Sailor Moon hair. Yeah, I get the Sailor Moon hair. It is killing me, you guys. I have to have green tea for the caffeine or I'll have terrible migraines. But I tried. I tried really hard. I am like the healthiest person on earth and it sucks. And that's Vid tea. Yeah, this is Pure Leaf. It's the same bottle that Chase gives Narutonin to his mom in. I just like Pure Leaf tea. What can I say? Taking this as my sign not to drink my second Monster. Yeah, well, here's your other signs, Layla. I went to the doctor and they're like, they ran a thing on my pulse and my heart and everything. They're like, you have a slightly enlarged left atrial whatever. It's borderline. And I'm just like, what does that mean? And they're like, well, if it gets any worse, that's going to be a really, 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 really bad thing for your heart. So, and I was like, I quit soda. I mean, these, I have 1 a day. That's it. That's all the caffeine I have. No more 2 or 3 cans of Monster a day. 1 bottle of iced tea. And that's it. And they're like, good. Don't make that any worse for yourself. I'm currently drinking Monster. These are turning into a monster. Okay, so Nali Kawaii, what does Chase think about vampires after the vampire book? Does he still feel obsessed with them? He did go over this in his diary on the Patreon, that he's kind of like over vampires. But now he's kind of thinking about demons ever since he saw Buddy in that demon costume. But yeah, he declares vampires to be over. Iwik Pines? IWIK Pines. Do keys know the plot of a story when they enter using another key? For instance, did Silver know the plot of A Ship of Sorrows when she went in looking for Deacon? Yes, she did. When keys enter stories using other keys, they know the plot of the story. My soup is souping right now. Chase got over vampires? Traitor. I'm not saying he won't watch another vampire movie. He's just not as obsessed with them as he was. Gotta go. Bye, Clara. Please tell me season 2 isn't the last. Well, if you keep liking every episode and leaving a comment, and remember to come back every single week and just view the episode to keep up the weekly unique browser, and maybe throw a fast pass in there every so often, there will be more episodes. Alright, so Jedzi, smiley face, asks, I know a lot of Chase's character was inspired and taken from yourself. So I was wondering if you took any inspiration from yourself when you made Buddy's character. Not really. Like, Buddy is kind of made to be the polar opposite of Chase. It's like the anti-Chase. Like, Chase wants to run around all day and do things, Buddy wants to just sit. He's so lazy. And Chase is like very demonstrative and like just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, and Buddy is not like that at all. Clean Dion writes, favorite and least favorite outfit of season 1 and why? Least favorite outfit was Buddy's island outfit because of all those beads, all the necklaces and the bracelets and the ones around his ankles. And I was like, why did I have to make them asymmetrical? So that I have to remember which leg, which ankle has the stack of 3 beads and which one has the stack of 2 beads with the feather on it, and which arm has these bracelets and which one has these bracelets and the necklaces and what order they're in. So it was just terrible. We have like 35 seasons. No, I'm not the kind of person, people are like, oh man, if people want it can go on for 1,000,000 seasons. I'm like, not for me. When a story's done, it's done. I prefer to have people say, like, I wish there was more of this, than to ever say, why is this still going? The best shows are like the kind of shows like Gravity Falls. You're like, I wish there was more of this. But then, like, when I stopped watching Adventure Time, I'm like, why is this still going? No shade to Adventure Time. It's just, it went in a lot of weird places, and it went on for a very long time. And eventually, I just kind of like, I don't ever want people to just lose interest. I didn't lose interest in Gravity Falls because it was short and it had a concise story and it ended at the right time. I'm literally rewatching Gravity Falls. Everybody should rewatch Gravity Falls. Yeah, the story is done when it's done. I don't believe in dragging things out, because here's the thing, they offered me a season 3 for Stagtown and I said, what would I put in it? I mean, there's enough material for 2 seasons. Like, I was very sick at the time I was making it, so like I kind of scrunched it a little to fit into the end of season 2, but I was like, there's maybe at most, the very most, 2.5 seasons. They're like, well, you could stretch it out. I'm like, that's just garbage filler. That's just, at that point, you're abusing the fans' patience. You're basically not saying to the fans, I want to give you a good story. You're saying, I want you to pay me more money so that I can keep doing this. Like, you're just using them as your personal wallet. You're not telling them a story that's interesting or that's necessary. And so they offered it to me. And even though I didn't have more work lined up at the time, I said, no, it's going to end in 2 seasons. It ends when it ends. Grace is caught in the wire screen. Somebody dictate my will. I'm leaving it all to Waddles. Anyways. Okay, let's see your next question. Shadow's Mirror, a regular. Have we seen Simon at any point in season 1? Are Nox's eyes moonstones or some other kind of gem? The multi-tiered cake with the broken Diane banner that Grandpa Ralph made in episode, what was that for? Looking forward to the stream. Okay, in reverse order, I don't know why Grandpa Ralph was making that cake. I think he was just bringing it to some PTA bake sale, and he's just like, take that, Diane. This man is on a mission to wreck this woman's life. But don't feel bad for Diane, because I feel she wrecks his life right back. Like, they are an equally matched set of forces, constantly at play. If you read Chase's diary, again, on the Patreon, you'll see that he talks about the animosities between Grandpa Ralph's side of, like it's like Grandpa Ralph and Diane Ferensky are like, I don't know, they're like mob bosses that control all the old people in Sugar Springs. And there's like his side of it and her side of it. And like when they meet in the bingo hall on Tuesdays every night, like everybody sits on their side and they're just like plotting against each other. It's this whole underground dynamic of old people intrigue. I think Chase called it like Game of Crones. It's like Game of Thrones, but for old people. Shepard, go make your dinner. Good luck with your tests. So let's see. Okay, next question. Are Nox's eyes moonstones or some other gem? They are moonstones. Some people have asked, and I don't know if I put it in here with other questions. People have asked, like, why, but do they respect each other's hustles? They respect each other as enemies, yes. So people have asked, like, how come when Silver or Bronze go into books, they have gem eyes, Buddy does not? They actually both do. The thing is that Silver has pink tourmaline eyes, and Bronze has emeralds, and those are cut with what are called facets. When you see like when diamonds have all those little surfaces cut into them to make them extra sparkly, those are facets. Those are cut to make the stones sparkle in different ways by catching the light in different ways. So that's how their eyes are cut, because their eyes are gems that are meant to do that. Buddy's eyes are moonstones. Moonstones are not meant to be cut in that way. They are, what is the word? Carbon. It starts with a CAR. Guys, help me out. It's the kind of stone that is polished smooth and round. It is not to be cut with facets. Like help me out here. What is the word for that? No, not carbonate, not carbuncle. Cabochon. There we go. Thank you. Cabochon. That is the kind of stone that Buddy's eyes are. And that is why they don't have those. So I'm getting back to the question that I left here. That's why they don't have those shiny little gemmy sparkles in them, because they're smoothly polished. If you look very closely at Silver and Bronze's eyes when they're in books, they do have that same black pupil right in the middle of the eye that Buddy's eyes have. It's just that it's very faint because it's hidden behind all the little carved facets of the stone that their eyes are. But it's there. They basically have the same eye as Buddy, they just have a different surface to it. Theirs is cut in facets, his is smooth. Cabochon. And so Violet isn't changing his eyes. She's trying to, like, I think she tries to dull him down a little bit to make him look a little bit more human. But I'm stuck with more ads. Punko's biggest fan. I like the name, but seriously, you gotta install uBlock. You won't have to look at any ads. So the little moon Easter eggs, yeah. Moonstone is actually a really interesting stone. Blue moonstones are kind of amazing because they are polished really smooth, almost like a marble, like an elongated marble. But what's really cool about them is when you hold them, they have this like bluish haze that, because of the way the light hits the stone, it looks like the blue haze is actually hovering above the stone itself. It's like a weird optical illusion, you know, it's almost like, ooh, like a hologram kind of thing. If you look at them just the right way, it looks like the watery blue of the stone is actually hovering above the stone itself. It's really amazing to look at. And so, yes, Buddy's eyes are moonstones. Will the Deacon fans be fed next season? Of course. Of course. Naturally. And people who are asking, like, were all the keys once human? Why is Buddy different colors? Blah, blah, blah. Guys, there are certain questions, if you keep asking them and I haven't answered them, I'm not going to answer them because they're spoilers. Okay, I'm not going to give you spoilers. I can't. I wouldn't do that to you. When did Chase's mom get sick? Very recently. Sometime, I think, within the last 2 years. What is your favorite joke or saying that Chase says? Oh, I don't know, because there's kind of... I do like when he just pops up, like, Deacon's trying to talk to Bronze, and he just pops up in that red hoodie and interrupts and says, "Everybody shut up and look at me!" Because that's like a very... It's a very Punko thing to say, like, "Hi, everybody shut up and look at me! I've got something to say!" Gotta go read Stagtown, see ya! Alright, here we go. How many seasons? We answered that. Okay, Plebado! Can keys die by drowning in keeple form? Do they actually breathe air? Do they have organs like a heart and all that? Or are they just solid metal magic beings who only mimic human behavior? They don't have any organs. They can't drown. At the end of the finale, Silver was distressed to be in the water, but not because she was going in danger of drowning in it in that little water park that they made. She just didn't want to be in it and like sink to the bottom. She didn't like it very much. Which you can imagine, you don't want to sink to the bottom of the water and have people not know where you are and forget about you down there and you're just stuck down there. But if they wanted to, they kind of indirectly hint at it when Chase is giving Deacon the tour of the amazing exclusive water park that he made for the keys, and you see at the bottom of the tank there's a bunch of like aquarium gravel and glow sticks, and he says take a stroll through our like underwater garden or something, indicating that the keys can walk underwater and they don't have to breathe. So they could go walking around in like the little glow stick garden that he made. Yassix? Yes, you will. You will find out. Yeah, people, they're like, where does all the food that they eat go? Even Silver doesn't know. It just ends up in, I don't know, some other dimension. It just disappears. Silver doesn't know. Nobody knows what happens when they eat food. Only that they can eat, apparently, an awful lot of it. They, as mentioned again in the Patreon, they basically just stop eating when they're bored. They don't really feel full, but they don't really feel hungry either. They eat purely for amusement, I guess. Alright, so Yobi-chan, could a key pull its user pull out its user, I guess, from a book by their own will in an emergency? Unfortunately, no. The keys cannot remove you from a book. Only you can do that. Gilded Roses, what are the roles of the pink, green, and red keys that we saw in episode 33? You will find out. I believe fairly soon. Fairly soon at the beginning of season 2. Iridescent Scales, why did the story horse respond better to Deacon getting up in his face? Is it because book magic favors character development? Does Deacon understand that yelling at a real world horse is probably just going to spook them? I'm so worried he's going to do something stupid and get a face full of horse hoof. Deacon would not yell at a horse in real life. You can kind of tell that horse was kind of book sentient. The horse clearly laughed at Deacon when he fell in that puddle. Like, horses wouldn't generally laugh at people when they like stand there and laugh at people and give them like derogatory looks. The horse was a little bit more self-aware than a real horse would be. Of course, when Deacon comes back, why do I hear boss music? What type of cancer does Chase's mom have? The same kind that my mom had, ovarian cancer. Yeah, the thing about Deacon and horses is that it's like these pomegranates are a metaphor, if you've ever seen that meme. The horses are, in fact, a metaphor. Deacon, as you've seen, doesn't really demand things from life or go after them. He asks for them and then gets disappointed when they're not given. He asks for an opportunity to do something, but when someone tells him no, he simply shuts down. And... oh, you'll have to make something up for that, Spooky. Ovarian cancer is a cancer of the ovaries. It is extremely dangerous and also almost impossible to detect right now. There have been some advancements, but generally you can't detect it until it's already very far along, which is sad. So, yes, Prunella did clock Deacon. She was just like, he's like, oh wow, I look like the main character. I look like the hero for once in the finale. And she's like, yeah, I don't need a special outfit to do that. I'm just the hero of everything I do, all the time, forever, everywhere, the end. Prunella is very self-determined. It's why she is the key holder for Goldie. It's why Goldie sees potential in her, because she just goes for things. She obviously needs a little like polishing. She needs to learn her limits and everything, but she is very self-assured that she is in fact going to do what she wants to do in life. She has that very much in common with Chase. Chase is very, I will do what I want to do in life, and you can't tell me otherwise. And that is unfortunately Deacon's failing. As Prunella said to Deacon once, you do too much asking and not enough telling. And he's been asking to have his own way in life for a long time and not getting it. He's been asking for horses to like him as much as he could, and they do not respect him because they, I guess, feel that he doesn't respect himself. And so finally, he just had enough in the finale and said, "I'm not asking anymore. I'm telling." And initial D, just the wrong type of horsepower. Can we see more art like the other Q&A? I don't have any set up right now. I'm sorry. In the other Q&A, I did show like original concept sketches for the characters, but I showed them in the other Q&A, so I'm not going to show them now. He asks his horse to like him, and they eat his pants. Yeah, no, he still has a way to go. We will see more character development from Deacon, but I feel like he's made his first steps. He's identified what his problem is right now, which is not that he doesn't want things enough. He does want things in life very badly. He just has never had the courage to go after them or stand up to the people who would stand in his way or tell him no. It's like when I was talking about Spring and they're like, "Oh, well, you know, I got this thing sent and I guess it was busted or it wasn't the one I wanted, or like they shipped it to the wrong house because they took forever to ship it and I'd moved since then." And they're hoping you won't say anything about that. They're really hoping you won't. But if you do, they will back down. It's like the cable company. They're hoping that you'll look at that bill that just keeps getting a little bit more expensive every couple of months, and you'll be like, "Oh, but if I call up, I'll have to like be a jerk about it, and I hate confrontation, and blah, 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 blah." You gotta call a company. You gotta call Comcast every 6 months or so, and you go, "Why the hell is my bill so high?" They're like, "Oh, well, the promotional period on yet another one of those crappy bundle packages that we only offer now exclusively has ended." So, and you just say, "I'm going somewhere else," or "I'm canceling, forget it." And they're like, "Oh," and if you say, "I'm canceling, that's it, forget it, please take me off it, no, I want to cancel," they'll be like, "Oh, let me go and just this one time, just for you, I'll work out." They always will lower your bill if you call up and say you're going to cancel. They will never be like, "Well, bye." They will always lower your bill, but they're counting on you not to. Comcast, babe, wait. Yeah, exactly. Like, they will always, sort of like, okay, if you ever get an enormous hospital bill, and eventually you will, if they send you a bill for like $6,000 or something insane, it's like an ambulance ride, whatever, always, and guys, if this is the one thing I can teach you in life, if you take away nothing else from me but this, always ask the hospital for an itemized bill. You have the legal right to do it. And the hospital loves to overcharge people because they have to make up the money somewhere, and so they overcharge you. And it's insane. I once got charged almost $6,000 for a 5-minute ambulance ride up the street. They're like, "Well, it's $6,000. I'm like, "For what?" They're like, "For the ambulance ride." I'm like, "No, for what about the ambulance ride?" They're like, "Well, we have to pay the 2 EMTs. I'm like, "So the 2 EMTs made $3,000 each for a 5-minute ambulance ride?" And they're like, "Oh, well, no. Well, I mean, there's also gas." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, so gas is like $2.50 a gallon right now." They're like, "Well, also there's these other," I was like, "I want an itemized bill. Send me an itemized bill. Itemize everything in this $6,000 bill." And wouldn't you know it, that $6,000 bill became like a $1,300 bill real fast. Because they can't tell you they're charging you $50 for a Band-Aid, even though they're trying to. They're hoping you won't ask. You have to ask. Okay, Punko, stand on business. Taking notes right now. Yeah, it is insane. If you ever get a giant hospital bill, say, "I want an itemized bill," and watch that number go down by like thousands of dollars. Thank you, Punko. So, yeah, I am very much like Chase in that Chase and I would both be that person who would be like, "I want to see an itemized bill right now." Deacon is the kind of person who's like, "Well, I don't think it should cost that much." We're like, "Well, it does." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Okay." You know, like, but now he's like, "No, it's not okay. Actually, it's not okay. And I've got my very tiny cousin who's going to stand up for me." And Chase is like, "That's right." I have a feeling Chase fought a lot of Deacon's battles in high school. Like, I don't think Deacon really got in trouble that much, but I feel like Chase would angrily come to his defense like a very protective chihuahua. Just jump in front and like, yeah, now you gotta go through me, the much smaller guy. But I'm on the wrestling team. Hey, anyone else cry at the finale? Oh, it's very sad, yeah. He wanted no pickles! That's right. He said no pickles on his hamburger, lady. You make it again. Yeah, like, he's just like, yeah! You know, he will protect him. I think Chase, he's very good at working people, so he wouldn't go total Karen at first. Like, Chase will only go nuclear Karen after exhausting every other one of his charms. But he's not afraid to go nuclear Karen. Me being British in the corner. Look, the trade-off with being in America, yes, we do have to pay the hospital. On the other hand, if I want to see a doctor, I just call my doctor up and I see them tomorrow. Okay? I have friends in the UK who are like, yeah, I made a doctor's appointment. It's for like 6 months from now. I'm like, what if you're sick? And they're like, I guess if it gets really bad, I can go to the hospital. I'm like, what if it's not a hospital thing? They're like, then I guess I gotta wait 6 months. And I'm like, that's terrible. Anyways, but yeah. Somebody has to tell the server I ordered the mashed potatoes and it ain't me. No, I am very in your face about things. I'm very assertive. It's kind of absurd. And so I will tell people off if they are hoping that I will just shut up and take it. I absolutely will not. Favorite episode to make? Anything in the vampire arc. I had to set an appointment once for urgent care. Yeah, we just have urgent care. You just go there. Like, there's one down the street. You just go there and you see a doctor immediately. It's the price we pay for expensive healthcare. Yeah, look, no system is perfect. Alright, there's gonna be ups and downs and everything. Not here to talk about that, though. Pocket Watch Crow asks, does Buddy make his own outfits for the story since he's a key, or is Violet the one making them? Violet is the one making them. Speaking of things that were like, oh, I thought people would have kind of caught on. I don't know if I thought that people would catch on, but when you see Buddy in his original outfits, everybody remember, it's the purple striped shirt and the black pants. It's an odd outfit, right? Like, even Chase calls him out. He says he looks like a vampire magician's assistant or something. It's an outfit like, it's like someone started with a regular button-down dress shirt. But then for some reason they decided to put a sweetheart neckline on it, which men's clothes never have. And also a high collar. Also like Tudor-style shoulder rolls and bracelets around the sleeves and a belt that's not really connected to anything. Like, this is an outfit that was made by someone who maybe looked at, I don't know, like some fashion magazine source from modern times and said, oh yeah, I can make that. Yeah, sure, I can make that. But like, I've always liked Tudor clothing. And they kind of like slam together something from across like 3 centuries. That's kind of modern, but not quite right. Yeah, that was really weird. Yeah, it's very... That makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, it's an outfit that's clearly made by somebody who is doing their best to imitate modern clothing to help Buddy blend in, but doesn't quite understand modern clothing. So everything is just kind of a little bit off on it. Violet's an artist, don't question her vision. So, let's see here. AO212 asks, Punko, if you could go into a story, what story would you choose? I actually don't know. Like, you'd think I would have thought of that. Like, at some point in like the last 3 years since I started working on this. Not really, no. I don't think I've ever thought of like what story I would go into. Like, I would be like, ooh, cool, Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, yeah, I love Lord of the Rings, but that crap is dangerous. I could get killed by something. Com81 dropping some really good insurance advice. Just like, yeah, I don't know, like, I guess like, I don't know. Maybe I would just go into Cinderella Boy just to see how it looks. Maybe hang around and write down some of the dialogue to use later. Like, just sneak in there. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't think of anything that I would actually... Honestly, I would probably just go into a book where I could just, like, sit on a beach and not do anything. People are like, ooh, if you could be any character. I'm like, I would just kind of, like, F off and like go on a beach and just sit there and just have like a nice beach day. I think if I used the keys for anything, I would use the time dilation trick, because they're in books longer, it seems, than they are in real life. So I would probably take like a ton of my work and do like a week's worth work in like a couple of days, like 2 days. Like I would spend 2 days in a book doing like a week of work, come out and be like, well, now I have the rest of the week off. I would do like that, and then, you know, like I'd have like 3 series going at once on WEBTOON, and everybody would be so impressed, like, wow, how does she work so fast? I'm like, oh, you know, and I just got the key. How tall is Knox in centimeters by Tayo? Hang on. I only use freedom units. People have asked, like, how big are the keys? Goldie is the tallest key. He's about 6 inches tall. Where did they go to put the centimeters on the other side? Which is about 14 centimeters, I guess. Bronze says that he is over 4 inches tall when writing in Chase's diary. So he's like maybe around, it's between 4 and 5. At least 4.5, I think. I'm not going to give you an exact estimate of how big Knox is compared to everybody else, because again, I don't like to be tied down to actual numbers. Let's say he's anywhere between 10 and 12 centimeters. They are itty bitty. Yeah, when Chase holds the keys, you can see that they sit in his hand like this. They're about, you know, the size of his hand. I read the how to do 200 panels in 10 days. I have now decided. All right. Holly Wally. As someone who's related heavily to Chase, personality-wise, I absolutely knew all those jibes and digs at his intelligence and maturity were just settling in the back of his mind, waiting to come out eventually, and they did. Now that we've finally gotten to see some of Chase's inner and complicated feelings, please just ease my mind and tell me, are we going to get more of that? Because I am loving the honesty he had to dig out in the finale. Yes. Chase, up until the story now, up until the finale, Chase had not really had to have a lot of time introspecting about himself. That is the thing about being the hero in a story, and he is the hero of Cinderella Boy. He's the main character anyways, is they don't just go out and do things. They also learn things about themselves, which in turn leads the reader to learn things about themselves. Oh, and also Holly Wally asks, question I saw on Tumblr, do you have a policy regarding fan art or keychains of your characters being sold at conventions? Don't remember who had the question, but none of us could remember. If you want to make keychains of Cinderella Boy or stickers and sell them at conventions, that's fine. Go right ahead. It's not like I have, I mean, don't make keychains and stickers of my art. Like, don't clip it from the episode and then just cut it out and draw your own, basically. If you want to sell fan art versions, that would be great. If you're just like taking like, you know, this Cinderella Boy logo and slapping it on a keychain, please don't do that. Not just for me, but because you might get in trouble with WEBTOON, and I don't want you to get in trouble. But if you just want to draw the characters yourself and sell them, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You can't hero. It is a state of being. Yeah, well, a lot of people said, why did you let Deacon almost be the hero in the finale? He was riding the horse. He was going to get Prunella to Chase in time. He was going to be the big hero. He made the big sacrifice to push the horse into the paper rot to lift up Prunella. He sacrificed himself, and then it didn't work. And they're like, a lot of people in the finale said, why did you cut him down like that? He was so close to being the hero, and then he wasn't. And I said, yeah, he was. Like, the whole point of being a hero in a story is that you inspire the readers. They want you to win. They want you to succeed. What you're doing matters to them because they have come to care about you. They care that Deacon finally rode a horse. They care that he finally got to wear the outfit he wanted. They care that he finally got to be to the rescue. He's doing everything a hero should do. And as Silver once told him, we don't love the hero because he succeeded. We love him because he tried. So, yes, he was the hero. And as Lazy Cuevas says, he did it because he needed to, not because he wanted to. Buddy also took him to the task on that, where he said, you're not just the hero because the hero is a fun thing to be. The hero is often doing what he does because he has to, not because he wants to. I don't think Deacon wanted to sacrifice himself in that moment. He wasn't like, this is on my bucket list. He did it because he needed to. And oh yeah, Silver. So yeah, he's screaming opossum. Oh yeah, somebody answered you. Yes, April. Oh, God, gotta stop using this arm. At least right after I work out. You have the hero to be a hero. Exactly. The hero is just a vessel for the person reading the story. The fact that everybody was like, I care so much that Deacon is succeeding. I care so much that he's finally doing this. He did it. He was your hero for however long a time it was. That's exactly what he was supposed to do. That is what a hero does. The hero is not just the person who wins and succeeds. Succeeding or not succeeding doesn't matter in a story in regards to who is the hero. It doesn't matter if they fail. What matters is how they make the person reading the story feel. So there, new Deacon unlocked. Oh, forevermore, we'll see ya. Okay, so Reese's Funny Haha wrote, were Deacon and Chase close growing up? What were the interactions like as kids and preteens? They were pretty inseparable when they were little kids. They started to grow apart a little bit in high school as they became teenagers, and Chase became more outgoing and Deacon became more introverted. And then when Deacon moved away, while Chase was still in high school, they kind of like lost touch. And at the beginning of season 1, they still have like a slightly strained relationship. It was supposed to be a little bit more emphasized that they didn't really get along, but it was a little too much to fit into the series. But originally they were gonna have a much more strained relationship and then put it back together. But there are still things that they need to work out. You know, Chase doesn't talk about how envious he is that his cousin gets a lot more stuff than he does. He gets a paid ride to college and everything. He doesn't talk about it, but he does think about it sometimes. Deacon feels bad that he's not as popular and well-liked and outgoing as Chase, but then he feels even worse. And this was the one thing that was covered in the Deacon Gets a Makeover episode. He's like, I feel bad because everybody likes Chase and he could talk to everybody and he was popular and people liked him. And he's like, and he has confidence, and he says, and then I feel worse because I'm envying a guy who has nothing compared to me, like financially. I'm getting so much stuff. I have 2 parents who are perfectly healthy. I'm going to college. I feel like an even bigger jerk for envying him. I just feel like garbage all over. That was supposed to be the episode where Silver reveals her biggest fear. Instead, she revealed it in the Patreon, which is that she's afraid of being eaten by a swan. She tells him the story of the ugly duckling and all this thing, and has this big moral at the end. And then she sums it up with, but you shouldn't want to be a swan. Swans are terrible. Like her very specific fear is being eaten by a swan. Because during the Halloween season, why specifically a swan? Because swans eat small things. They eat rodents. It just seems like something that might eat her. Like, I don't know why. It's just like a very illogical fear. But she mentions in the Halloween arc, they said they were learning about Halloween and they wanted to put together like a haunted house or something, like up in the tower, and like design their own, I guess, for Deacon and Chase to experience. And they gave him a long shopping list of things that they wanted them to buy so they could set up this haunted house experience for the humans. And it was like 12 rubber bats, a terribly fearsome like set of wallpaper, like fearsome paper, and he's like, I guess cobwebs. He's like a ghost. I don't know if they wanted to buy an actual ghost. And Silver added in the item, a swan that is not alive but looks as though it very well could be. And then she had to explain that she was very afraid of swans, so she felt that swans fit well in haunted houses. Not real ones, of course, but very, very realistic ones. Skukyomi writes, when you were writing the story, were there any characters or story plot ideas that were scrapped? If you watch the other Q&A, there's a lot of stuff that was scrapped in there that I show you. Like a few things, but they weren't really, not really anything worth mentioning, I think. Raven. Swans are quite mean, though. Yeah, swans are mean. I think if she were smart, she would fear Canadian geese even more. Those things are menaces. Crystal Empire. I've been reading Chasers since it was released to originals, and it's my #1 favorite comic. I'm wondering if you always plan to add more romance to the story, because I think I remember a time when the description didn't include romance as a section. Yeah, originally it was just supposed to be a subplot, so it was only tagged like comedy. It didn't specifically say romance. And so here's the thing, a lot of people, they're like, I remember a time when it was tagged BL, but then I remember a time when it wasn't. And I remember a time when it was tagged romance, but it hasn't always been. Originally, I just wanted to do a comedy that had romance in it. And there was an issue where people wanted to know if it was romance and they wouldn't stop asking about it. And eventually we put it in the description. Then people said, like, there's even like a custom credit in one of the early episodes that says, is this BL? Because people kept asking, is this BL? Is this BL? Is this BL? Boys love. And so I was like, I talked to my editor, I was like, should we put it? I mean, technically, but not really. Like, I was like, do they just mean our two guy characters going to get together? So we put BL in the tags, like, yes. Like, is there going to be romantic tension between two guys? Ta-da. But then we realized that when people say, is this BL, they're asking for a very specific kind of story. Boys Love has a very specific format. And fans of it expect very specific things. They don't expect most of the series to be comedy adventure. They feel like it drags if it's not all about the romance. So eventually I was like, we really can't call this BL because people will come here looking for something else and be disappointed. So we took, we had to overhaul that and be like, should we keep calling it BL? Should we keep, like, kind of went back and forth, and I was like, let's, for season 2, just tag it romance comedy, and that's that. But it's also not that specifically. Exactly. When people say, is this BL, they don't just mean, is this a series with two guy characters in it that might be in a relationship? They're looking for a very specific story that has very specific story beats, very specific tropes, very specific expectations from the readers. I thought I was insane for shipping them. It's always great. Rom-com heavy on the com. Yeah, it's not a rom-com, it's a com-rom. Feel like, I mean, there's that very short romance between Aragorn and Arwen in Lord of the Rings, but you wouldn't call Lord of the Rings a romance story. It's there, but like, it's not the main focus of the story. It's all the BL comics. I just assumed it had to be BL. Yeah, comedy, adventure, romance is kind of what I wanted to call it. I love com-roms. So let's see here. Havner, what was the biggest challenge when going from writing horror to this? Convincing people that they would want to read it. A lot of people, I posted up the Goodnight Dear Mother episode at the end of Stagtown that has a lot of like Cinderella Boy characters in it, like talking about the new series. And so many people who read Stagtown were just like, well, this is my stop. I don't read stories like that. Best of luck to you. And I was like, oh, you're not even gonna give it a chance? Like, you just read like the first 3 episodes, bro. And they're like, no, I don't read stories like that. Or, no, I only came to see you for horror. If that's what you came for, that's what you came for. Okay, like, I get it. If that's just your thing, that's your thing. But I was like, It was very hard convincing people that I could do both of them, especially the people at WEBTOON, because they're used to people who only write a certain genre. And they're not wrong when they say that if you switch genres, a lot of your former readers will not become your new readers. They just won't. That's just the way it is. But I was like, I feel like we can still find an audience for this. Like, I feel, even if we don't get the old audience, I feel we can get a new one. Yes, Spooky. Little bit of trouble. I have so many questions. Do the characters have accents? I don't really think about how they talk now. Since Chase can only have gluten-free foods, does that mean he can and does cook gluten-free foods? He does. Chase does a lot of cooking for himself. You do see him cooking while talking to his mom on the phone in one episode. She's teaching him a recipe, but Chase does canonically, we don't see him do it much because he's usually busy, but he does cook his own food quite a lot, which is typical for most people with celiac. We don't really trust other people to do it, even if they have our best interests at heart. My poor mother every year tries to make Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner that I can eat. And like Thanksgiving, she nailed it. This Christmas, I ate something, like I ate it and it was fine. And then later I felt incredibly sick and my mom felt so bad. And I had to like cover it up and just be like, I think it's, Mom, I think I just ate too fast. I think like I felt terrible because she tried so hard to keep every crumb of gluten. The thing with celiac, people like me and Chase cannot walk into a room where people are baking bread. Because if that bag of flour is open, little flour particles from the bag of flour are getting into the air and then we breathe them in. We cannot have above what's called 25 parts per million. That's for like every tiny little atom or whatever of gluten. We can only have 25 of them compared to like a million of everything else. If you've got a million particles of something, only 25 of them can have gluten in them for us to safely inhale it. Otherwise, no. Good Lord. Yes, when people are like, oh my God, like celiac people so picky at the restaurant. Oh my God, why is that such a big deal? Because, Karen, I don't want to get 4 different kinds of cancers. Also, I don't want to throw up in this restaurant. It might take like 45 minutes or an hour depending on how much I ingest, but it's going to happen. I don't want to spend the rest of my night throwing up. Thank you. Is Chase at a level of celiac where he can't eat food that is contaminated either? Technically, all celiacs cannot eat contaminated food. There are some people who will say I have a gluten, I have a gluten sensitivity or like or something like that. That's not celiac. If people are like, oh, I just can't eat things with gluten ingredients in them, that's not celiac. People with celiac cannot consume even the smallest crumb of gluten. We cannot. That is the definition of celiac because it will force our immune systems, because it's not an allergy, it's an autoimmune disease. If Chase eats, if he even breathes in flour from somebody who's baking bread, he will get extremely sick from it, and it will force his immune system to start eating his internal organs alive. This is what happens with immune diseases. They are garbage. So yeah, that's why he's so careful about everything. And I think it's to Grandpa's testament that he only bakes in the kitchen ever, just ever. Even if it's really hard to bake with like gluten-free flour because it's garbage and it doesn't stick together very well and it doesn't taste as good as other things, Grandpa Ralph only cooks with gluten-free stuff so as not to contaminate the kitchen, so Chase won't get sick. Yay, autoimmune diseases. As a career baker, I salute your sacrifices. Oh, God. It's awful. Let's see. Sarah Pearl, will we still get Chase's jacket as a merch item? As soon as I can find a place that's not Spring to do it. That will be affordable for everyone because I'm done with Spring. Multi-meows. Will the gang try going into different genres, like Western or mystery? Yes, we answered that. Yes, they will. Hamster NT. Why did you drop the name Chasing Cinderella for Cinderella Boy? Cinderella Chasers was the name on Canvas, and I didn't drop it WEBTOON, just thought Cinderella Boy sounded better. I know this Q&A is about Chasing the Gang, but I was wondering if you would do a cameo in the upcoming Stagtown the movie. Fun fact, I do get to have a cameo in the Stagtown movie. I was just talking to the director. Director is Ben Brewer. He directed the recent Arcadia with Nicolas Cage, a really good movie. He worked on Everything Everywhere All at Once, and he's going to be the director for this. And oh my God, I know, right? I was so stoked. Like I was talking to him on a Zoom meeting with a bunch of other people. And so I asked about that, and he was like, oh my God, no, we're way into cameos. Like, you definitely should have a cameo in the movie. And I was like, can I just be like a really surly person, like in the back of the store when Frankie and Felix are going shopping, and I'm just like staring daggers at my own characters, like, I hate you guys. You put me through so much hell while I was drawing that webtoon. So, is it still in the production stage? Movies take a long time to make, trust me. I can't tell you what stage we're in right now, but early stages. But we have the director, we have the production company, we have all that. I actually told him that Frankie's apartment is based on my apartment here because when I was stuck inside during the pandemic, I just started drawing my apartment because it was the easiest reference. I was just like, well, I already live here. And so I said to him, would you do something crazy, like come out here and ask the apartment complex if you can film in like an empty version of my apartment, because that would be crazy. And he was just like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. I was like, oh, I didn't think so. He's like, no, we're going to build a stage that's an exact duplicate of your apartment. I was like, no, you're not, though, but like for real? And he's like, oh, yeah, it's going to be a trip. You haven't lived until you've walked onto a stage of your actual apartment, but it's a stage. I'm like, you're really going to come out here and film my apartment and like measure it and take pictures and then build a duplicate of it? And he's like, yes, we are. I'm like, that's crazy. It's just crazy. I think it's only one movie for Nowcom, but like, Cinderella Boy movie when? Guys, it would be so expensive to shoot. Stagtown is cheap because it's horror, it's small town horror. You can film it anywhere with a very small cast. Chase and Buddy, they've got magic going on. They go to like a different palace every day. It would be so much money to film. I don't even understand. Like, you could go for like animation maybe, but people don't understand how expensive animation is. People are like, you should do an animation. You should just fund that. And I said to them, like, do you know how much it costs to produce an animation? Like a 22-minute episode for TV, you know? And they're like, oh, well, no. And I was like, okay, how about this? They start at $500,000 per episode, but they can go up to $1 million an episode. That's why animation companies, like cartoon people, are so intent on selling toys of things like My Little Pony and stuff. It's to make all that money back, in addition to selling ad space. You should just splurge and make a theme park. Yeah, like, just seriously, animation is so god-awful expensive, it's unreal. People don't understand that every episode of a show that they watch on TV, even the crummy ones, can be like $500,000 an episode. And they're like, I was like, yeah, and I explained that, and they were just like, oh, well, if you ever do decide to do it. I'm like, God, my dude, like, it's not, it's like, let me just check under the couch. I'm sure I have like a spare 10 million down there. Ow. Yeah, like, would it be cool as a cartoon? Absolutely. So, oh, and they asked, will the horse skeleton make a special guest appearance in the movie? Because my horse skeleton, Joey, who is a member of our family, he's a giant, like, life-size plastic skeleton of a horse that I got 1 billion years ago, brand new for $25 in the box, does show up in Stagtown in Jeremy's storage unit. I'm gonna bring that up to Ben. I'll be like, Ben, if you need that horse to go, like, first of all, you can't find them for love or money anymore. Like, I've seen him going for almost $2,000 on eBay, but if you want to borrow Joey, you could be in the movie. Hydrogeno I'm sorry, I'm murdering your name. How do you manage to post weekly? I know it's hard work to draw, paint, and stuff, so I'm pretty impressed you always post a chapter every Monday night in my country. A lot of work, that's all. Just a lot of work. Again, the whole I don't watch TV thing, that helps. I don't waste 2 or 3 hours a day watching TV. I don't have TikTok installed so that I don't spend 2 hours scrolling through there. Same thing with Reddit. I have an app called Focus on my phone that from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. blocks Tumblr, Reddit, like basically anywhere that you can waste time on TV, on the internet. It blocks all of those. It doesn't block the whole internet because I might need it to look up like reference drawings or something or whatever. Like I might need it for work, but it blocks everything else during my workday. The panel where it whooshes to Chase talking to Dracifer. I've never understood how to pronounce my own character. I think it's Dracifer. It would be funny if you hear it, if they'd made a show of this and they just keep saying it differently in every scene. When it whooshes to the Vampire Lord, then back to Buddy literally gave off animated show vibes. I do try to style Cinderella Boy like it's a cartoon. Like, people often say it gives a cartoon vibe, and I'm like, that's because I try to like plan it in my head, like if this was a scene that's live action, how would it be? I try to set up the jokes like that quite a lot. Not always, but I try to give it like an animated show kind of feel. Like, originally Webtoon was like, this feels very sitcom-y, and I'm like, well, that's the intent. And they're like, oh, That they were expecting like big, long pull-down panels with lots of fancy art that bleed into like different narration boxes. I was like, no. It's very, very like TV show, different scenes kind of thing. I even refer to like the A and B story for each episode arc. An A story and a B story in TV shows is basically just what's the main plot and what's the minor plot. It's like a classic storytelling thing. There's like two things going on at once. Like the A story in the Island arc is Buddy and Chase on the island, and the B story would be Deacon out in the rowboat dealing with the seagulls. Although that's a very minor B story. But Dracofear, I think it would be extremely funny if this was live and they just keep saying it differently in every scene. That would be funny. Chris is Trying says that they really like the comedy. Look, I have been wanting to write comedy forever, and I'm very glad people like it. Because, you know, when people I mentioned this in the other Q&A, people said about the comedy, I was just like, you read a webtoon that's marked comedy, or anything, like a comic book, anything, comic strip, and you don't laugh out loud at it once. Is it really, you're just like, or like, oh yeah, I guess so, or like, oh, that's kind of like, if you went to a movie that was billed as a comedy and you didn't actually laugh out loud once, you would not call that a successful movie. So I try very, very hard with the jokes. Like, it's a hard medium to make people laugh out loud. It doesn't have the impact of like animation or live action, but I do try hard. Dracifer. Ocean, I never planned on how his name would be pronounced either. I think it's funny. It's funnier if like you keep saying it differently. Let's see here. Dandelion Blooms, what are the names of the friends Chase hangs out with at the diner? All right, I wasn't going to tell you in season 1, but I will tell you right now. The guy sitting next to Chase with the dark hair is Simon. It's his friend and dance partner. The guy sitting across from him is Ross. He's the bigger guy. And the girl in the corner is Danielle. Yes, it is Simon. I told you I wasn't going to tell you for all of season 1. But now we're between seasons. So, yes, that is Simon. It's the only one I laugh out loud at. Well, I'm glad. That's the one who let him down. Simon's got his own way of doing things. Miss Bunny plays Roblox. Are we going to have Buddy's POV now like we have Chase's? Of course, yes. Blip HQ, can the keys feel things like different textures or temperatures? Can they feel wind or rain? We talked about this in the Patreon. The keys describe that when they are just walking around in their key forms and everything, they can feel things, but they're muted. It's like if you had big rubber dish gloves on all the time. They can feel things, but not as much as humans. But they can taste things just fine, which I think is why they get so obsessed with food and why they just like really overreact to how things taste and how they always seem to be eating because they really enjoy it. Scorched rice. If it was feasible, would you ever want to publish it? Of course. I'm going to try hard to do that. Cryptic Millipede. Will you talk at all about the upcoming Stagtown movie? Yep, we just did. Got that one. Gotcha. Mercury 32. Will Prunella get more panels or interact with Buddy? Yes and yes. Sleepy Nerd 13. Is Buddy actually into fashion, or does it only seem that way because Violet makes all his outfits for him? I think Buddy likes fashion, but he likes it if other people do the work on that for him. Like he wants you to bring him clothes, and then he can tell you whether or not he likes them. Let's see here. Kathleen, how far out did you plan the series? Has the ending been decided? Was there any chance you'll change the ending as you go? The ending has already been decided. As I said with the Pixar rules, you always decide the ending first. It may change a little bit in like detail as you go, but the general gist of the ending should be there when you start writing the story. You should know how it starts and how it ends, and then you write the middle part. Shigerudo, was the original Molgoth outfit Nox wore designed by Violet? Yeah, okay, so we talked about her designs for his original outfit. A lesbian BL lover. I think I'm right, but I want you to confirm it. Does Chase try to hide his sadness when he's with other people to not make them worry? Chase is the master of pretending everything is fine so as not to make other people around him worry. He has a lot of pressure on him. He feels responsible for his mom and taking care of her. you can see he feels responsible when Prunella is around. He may throw her out of the house because he's like tired of her coming over, but if she even goes near the street between their houses, he forces her to hold his hand and walk across. He makes her, we've seen him make her lunches and snacks to take into the books with her, and to instruct her to eat her sandwich first and not her dessert first. He looks after a lot of people. He's got a very caregiving kind of mode to him. Oh, good night, Breach Mage. A third big message. Shadows of the Moon. You utilize the gutter art for a lot of fun and atmospheric elements. What instance was your favorite? The gutter art is a phrase that is used in comics to mean the space between panels. Originally in comics, it was just white to, differentiate between panels. That's just called the gutter. But you'll notice when I do panels in WEBTOON, there's art behind them, and that's called the gutter art. I try to match it to wherever they are. So the gutter art will change if they're in Chase's room versus if they're in like Deacon's room, or if they're in a story location, or if they're outside or they're inside, to feel like slightly more immersive. What was my favorite one? I did like the water one for the finale. I thought that looked good. I thought that really helped to give you a kind of underwater feel that was kind of claustrophobic. How much longer on the stream? Hang on, I can't tell exactly. Ooh, okay. Oh, not that much longer. I'll get through these really quick. The water stains were very effective. Thank you. I like the water stains. Can we get the gutter art as wallpaper? People in the Patreon already can, I think, get those. I can throw them up for free on the. Let me make a note of that real quick. I made my notes. My little notepad. Gutter art. Free members. Patreon. Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and join my Patreon for free, this is just the kind of stuff that I put out for free. Like, you want free wallpapers? Sure. You want free videos? Sure. Wait, we get gutter art? I think I posted it, Monty, I think I posted it in the Discord under, or maybe I may have put, yeah, I think actually I take some of the best panels and make them into wallpaper. I don't think I put gutter art up as wallpaper, but I can. But I'm going to put it up for the free readers anyways. I don't know any D&D classes. I know so many people who do D&D, and they try to invite me over. They're like, oh great, we're going to make your character. And I'm like, ooh, tabletop gaming. I'll be the shoe. And they're like, this isn't Monopoly. You have to make up a character. I'm like, all right, I'm a ghost with a +5 against shoes. Like a +5 what? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't play this. I like to watch other people do it, but I don't. Okay, Sleepy Reader 5. How come when the other keys went in the book, they had diamonds for eyes, but Buddy didn't? We talked about that, about the cuts of gems. That's when does season 2 start? We got that. Okay, Alexander Lee, is there any news in regards to Stagtown coming to physical, webtoon, or book version? Yes, we have a deal with Penguin Random House to put out, for now, what is a 2-volume, but may become a 3-volume if we can't fit it all in 2 books, version of Stagtown, probably to coincide with the movie. So there will be very high-quality Random House hardcover versions of the Stagtown books coming out, and I will keep you informed of it. They're not going to be coming out in like the next couple of months or anything. I think maybe 2026, end of this year, beginning of this year. I will keep you informed as I know. The Discord is not public. My Discord is attached to my Patreon, so you have to be a member, but there is a fan Discord. So if anybody wants to drop a link for Screaming Opossum, I'm not in that Discord, but I hear that it's kind of nutty. We consider it the what were we saying, like the weird basement to our Discord. You know, like you're renting out a building and you rent the upstairs to like the Stagtown crew, like Frankie and Felix are living up there, and then you got like Chase and his friends, like they're on like the 2nd floor, and like the 1st floor is the Patreon Discord, and then like you're like, oh yeah, and watch out for those guys in the basement, the fan Discord, and it's like, are they cool? Yeah, they're cool and everything. It's just if you go down there to like flip the switches because like a fuse busted in the fuse box, like just, you know, give them their space. They like to do their own thing. Like they're kind of crazy. They throw little weird parties down there. If you can get invited, that's cool, but like just watch it. They're a little bit nuts. We like them. No, we love the fan Discord. I think it's a little too intense for me if I were to join though. Tasteless joke. How conscious are the keys when they have a user in the books? Do they know everything the user does, or is it like a dream and they vaguely recall bits and pieces? We talked about this. When the keys are stuck in books and like a human is inside of the book, they don't know what's going on. They're just kind of asleep when they're stuck in a book. They do get that minute when they first go into the book to analyze what the book is about and create an outfit if they want to for their key holder. But after that, they don't know what's going on. You could do anything in that book and they just don't know what it is. Look at my AO3. We're seen as the weird basement. It's like a weird basement where like all the cool like people, like you're just like, I don't know what those people do for a living. I see them at clubs and they're all very chill and they've got their own weird language. Like they're cool, but I don't know if I fit in there. They're the cool weird basement. It's like, like you always rent your basement apartment. If you were renting a building and there's a basement apartment, it's always to like, you're like, yeah, then there's that one guy who lives in the basement. Like, he's cool and everything, but like, so he's throwing these crazy parties and I don't know most of the people who come in. I think some of them might be in the mafia. I'm not sure. So, guys, don't spam the number 4. No, Silver and Violet did not know about the smooch. I'm sorry. My sister needs to get off YouTube. We like the fan Discord. Like I say, like don't screen cap anything from the fan Discord unless you have permission to do it. But when they do, and they post things in our Discord, I'm like, those crazy kids. The Comic Elf wrote, "What is Like Napple's worst crime? The fact that he's impersonating the real Like Napple." Bored Fox asked, "What does Deacon look for in a partner, and which gender?" I'm asking for me. It's for my own benefit. If we're talking the hiatus, we made the idea that in the hiatus in Keystone Academy, all the characters could go with any gender. Like, they're not the same as the characters in Cinderella Boy. But if you're just talking about the main canon of Cinderella Boy, Deacon likes girls, obviously. What does he look for in a partner? I think right now he's kind of obsessed with these like very impossible kind of people. Like, like ladies in stories who are like elf maidens, or like fancy princesses like Silver and stuff like that. I think, if he were to be honest with himself, he might like to meet a nice horse girl who likes books. I think that would be a very good match for him. I think he wants to meet somebody who's very romantic and likes romantic books like he does. He's a very squishy boy inside. Spooky calm. You know what? That's fine. Would Deacon consider Teddy? Canon Deacon would not consider Teddy. Let's see here. Rose Gould. Punko, what's your favorite to write, horror or comedy? Do you think that horror and comedy go hand in hand? There is a lot of comedy in my horror series, Stagtown. I think they can work together well. I like when they work together well. But if you ask me which is my more favorite to write, probably comedy. Honestly, I just like to write it better. Amia says, I imagine you've been thinking about the season 1 finale for a while. How did you feel when you could finally post it? Really relieved that I wouldn't have to keep almost accidentally spoiling it and then kicking myself. You know who Teddy is? I do know who Teddy is. For Halloween costumes, dear mom went us 3 inches shorter. You caused this by creating him. I didn't create Teddy. Oh, you mean Deacon. Sorry. How do you come up with outfits, and whose outfits are harder to come up with? We answered that in the last Q&A. It takes me at least a day to design everybody's outfits for a new arc, so that's a very busy week on top of my regular work. Deacons are usually the easiest to design, chases are medium, and buddies are the hardest just because like I feel like he keeps rejecting everything I design and I have to do it like 30 or 40 times before he's satisfied that he looks good enough. Does Simon kind of look like Buddy for a reason? Yeah, I guess I have just like a chronic case of artistic same face. Unfortunately, same face is a thing that kind of hits a lot of artists. People just kind of tend to look like they look different to us because we're like, oh, well, this nose is completely different. Obviously, these are 2 very different characters, and everybody else is like, that's the same guy with a different nose. I'm like, no, but didn't you notice the nose? It's completely different. It's completely different to me. Will you ever confirm the sexualities of the characters? Deacon is straight, Chase is gay, Buddy is whatever. The end. I did see your hair, Hollow, on Tumblr. If you haven't seen it on Tumblr, Aim Hollow dressed up as Violet and cut their hair to look like it, and it looks really good. And dyed it. I thought that was an impressive set of dedication right there. But yeah, I was very worried that people wouldn't like the finale, because there was so much build up to it. And I saw at least one person who was like, I don't like Nox's name. And I was afraid, like, I saw one person who said they didn't like Nox's name. I thought it was going to be like 50% of people hated the name Nox, because you can't have something like that and then everybody's trying to guess what it is and everybody's coming up with their own version of it and like, well, it should be this and it should be that. You're never going to make everybody happy. Everybody's always got their own idea of what it should be. But I was very relieved that most everybody thought that Nox was an acceptable name. I need my Wi-Fi back. I don't know, I just came up with the name Nox and I was just like, that's actually perfect. That exactly fits him. But even the person who said, even the person who said, like, I don't really like the name, pointed out, they're like, but on the other hand, there was never going to be a name that would satisfy everybody. We can just get used to it. If it makes you feel any better, I just call him Buddy. I never call him Nox. The only time I call him Nox is if he's, like, in relationship to him being, like, near, like, Violet or something. Like, I have a feeling Violet calls him Nox. We've seen her call him that. But I just call him Buddy, honestly. Just even when I knew his name, I just call him Buddy all the time. It doesn't matter. If you watch the other Q&A, you'll hear about how the whole series got started and how I came up with it. But the reason his name is Buddy, in the story, it's because Chase kept calling him Buddy because he calls everyone Buddy or Pal. And it just stuck. And that's the same way he got his name in real life. I was coming up with the story idea and I was explaining it to a friend. And I said, yeah, and the main character, he's this little guy, his name is Chase. And he's this other guy keeps like getting in his face in stories and he's just like, listen, Buddy, you better stay out of my way. Like leave me alone, Buddy. And my friend said, I'm confused. Is the antagonist's name actually Buddy? And I was like, no. Yes, actually, yes. Actually, that's great. It's because I kept calling him Buddy all the time as a placeholder, and then I just thought it would be funny if Chase did the same thing. Buddy Pal, my good chum, sir. What name does he prefer? We will have to see, but I will tell you that he did not like the name Buddy at first at all. Like, he thought it was kind of like dismissive or rude or something. But he has now come to like it because he associates it with Chase. And because it does mean friend, you know, and he likes that Chase has unwittingly given him a name that means friend, basically. I think it gives him like the warm fuzzies inside now when he thinks about it. He likes being called Buddy by Chase. So, let's see here. Dottree asks, what made you choose to shift to a format and story that's less dark after so much of it being horror? I already said, go and watch the other Q&A and you will understand exactly why I switched from horror to comedy. Spoiler alert, it's also the same reason I have celiac now. What hobbies have our key friends found and loved the most in the time they've been free? I love the idea that Silver considers eating to be one of her hobbies. You know, she's like, oh, yes, I love to knit. And I like to paint, and I've been raising some flowers on the windowsill, and I'm getting very into eating. I think I've gotten very good at it. You know, she considers eating to be one of her like personal hobbies. And I never knew you could get celiac from overworking. Yes, if you carry the gene marker, like if you carry the genes for it, you can go your whole life without ever having it. You just have the potential to develop it. But it often develops in people after trauma or extreme stress. A lot of women develop it after being pregnant and giving birth because pregnancy is a huge stress on a woman's body. It's just like phenomenally changes every part of your body, and they can develop celiac afterwards because of it. My meltdown over working too hard at Stagtown is what gave me celiac, is what the doctor said. It sucked. I think I've gotten very good at it. Yeah. Hi, sorry I'm last. This is my first one. That's okay. But yeah, Silver considers eating to be one of her hobbies. I think Bronze considers sleeping in to be one of his, which is something he was never really allowed much of when he worked for Ex Libris. Goldie likes to exercise, even though he has no real reason to do so. Again, this is mentioned in the diaries that are exclusive to the Patreon. He has a diary entry where he describes his entire day, which is he gets up and uses a feather as a broom to dust his entire house. He considers himself the steward of his house and takes his role very seriously as its caretaker, so he dusts the whole thing from top to bottom. He makes his glove, which is his bed, so that it's nice and neat. Then he'll sort and catalog his collection of gummy bears and eat a few, usually by size and color. And then he will go do calisthenics and workouts on the windowsill, and then later on sometimes go outside when they're allowed outside. When Grandpa's not around, they'll take him out into the backyard and let him walk around. Silver likes to look at the flowers in Grandpa's garden. Goldie likes to walk around for exercise, and he considers it his job to make sure Bronze gets exercise, so he will carry his little brother around the yard, which I don't know how that helps Bronze get more exercise if he's just being carried. But on the other hand, I don't know that the exercise really benefits Goldie either, because he's made of metal. But they all very much enjoy it. Goldie is underrated. If he had nothing to do and nobody to tell him what to do, yeah, Buddy doesn't like to do anything. He's very lazy. Aw, that's very nice, Blossom. Do you read any CB fanfics? I have a rule. I don't like to read fanfics unless you send them to me or like tell me that I can read them, because I don't like the idea of like writing a fan fiction and having the creator of the series looking over your shoulder. Like just posting it online can be nerve-wracking. You know, you're putting out your writing. You don't know how people are going to react. They might criticize it. The last thing you need is the creator of the series also reading it. If I wrote a fanfic for like my favorite fandom or something and the creator was reading it, I would feel so self-conscious. I would be like, please don't look at this. Like, it's not that good and it's probably not like very canon or whatever. And so I do not like to read fanfics unless you tell me it's okay for me to read them. I know we were having a debate in the Discord the other day about when people write things that are out of character. They're like, oh, somebody had this thing about Chase and Buddy that was very OOC. It was very out of character. And I said, I consider fan fictions to simply be like an AU, like an alternate universe of my characters. So if I read a fan fiction and it's not exactly in character like it is, I'm just like, well, this is just another version of them. And if I had like the all-powerful author key and used it to go into this story, I would be like, hi, I created you, but I also kind of didn't, because the author of this story really sort of created you because you're their version of the you that I know. You're your own you. So you're an AU. You're an alternate universe version. I started reading Between Blood and Home, but I've just been so busy. And I did start reading Keys Are People too. But man, that thing's got a lot of chapters. That is like, you settle in for a weekend to read Keys Are People too. I did see that, Possum. That's a good birthday present. So, okay, so who are Grandpa Ralph's, oh, like Lena the Bina, we're almost at the end. Who are Grandpa Ralph's children out of Chase and Deacon's parents, and who are son and daughter-in-laws? Grandpa Ralph's kids are George, who is Chase's father, and Uncle Dale, who is Deacon's father. So both Aunt Myra and Aunt Beth, Myra is Chase's mom, Beth is Deacon's mom, and they are both Grandpa's daughter-in-laws. I hope that helps. Shelby Sparkles, does Silver have a rose on her back underneath her hair like the rest of the keys? She does. You just don't see it because she has such long hair, but if you were to lift her hair up in the back, you would see she has a rose symbol on her back, sort of like how Bronze has an apple and Goldie has a sun. Story Devourer, if a key holder wore a glove from the story world and punched another key holder while in the story, would the other key user still be injured? Yes, because even though the glove is imaginary, their fist is not. It would be like, try to imagine going into the books like it's a virtual reality world. But if you're in there with other people, you're in a virtual reality world, you're both wearing helmets, that like help you like look like, I don't know, knights or princesses or whatever. What you're wearing and what you're looking like is fake, but the two of you in the room are still there. So if you like put on an imaginary glove and then throw a punch at another real person, they're still gonna feel it. The glove is not real, but your fist is. All right. Spooky, 28. How tall are the keys? A few inches, half a foot. Do you have set heights? We went over that. Goldie looks like over half a foot tall. Goldie is about 6 inches tall. The others are shorter. Astrid Skies asks a question a lot of people have asked, and I'm happy to answer it. How big is Buddy and Chase's age gap? Like, is Buddy like a decade or something older than Chase? No. I am not writing the 100-year-old vampire and 18-year-old teenager trope. That's weird and creepy. Okay. No, there is not a big age gap. Look, I don't want to give a million spoilers away, guys, but I also don't want you to worry that you're walking into something that you don't really want to read. So I'll just say, no, it's fine. Listen, just trust me, okay? I wouldn't write something creepy. He's not just gonna go to Chase and say, I'm actually 700 years old and have been alive all this time and you are but 18. No. Always thought that was weird. That was the one thing I didn't like when someone told me about Twilight. They're like, oh yeah, and Edward's like 200 years old and Bella is like 17 or 18. I'm like, ew? Like, has he not matured in those like 200 years or whatever? Like, oh no, he has. I'm like, okay, and he still wants to date teenagers? I think it's creepy when 40-year-olds want to date teenagers. Even if they are technically 18. We all kind of go at that because they have much more life experience and have been very older. Like they have experienced more life and everything, and we kind of give that look like. So yeah. How far have you read and capped? I don't remember. I think like chapter 40. It's been a while. It was way before Christmas. Thank God for that. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that too. Who was the first person Chase came out to when he realized he liked guys? Deacon, immediately. He couldn't help himself. He immediately blurted out some dumb crush he had. Instantly. That was back when they were still BFFs in high school and told each other everything all the time, and back when Deacon still lived in the same town as Chase. Kathleen says, this series started out comedic and lighthearted. It seems we're headed towards a more serious, darker tone. How dark do you envision later seasons to be? Not very. I mean, honestly, I made it go dark so that, hang on. Actually, in Twilight, their bodies, including their brains, freeze and stay in the age. So, oh, gross. So he's gonna have to be a teenager forever? That's terrible. That's almost as bad as what I feel like that's almost worse. I would pay a lot of money not to be a teenager forever. But anyways, look, no shame in what you want to read. Some of us just want to read junk binge. Okay, like, sometimes you just want to read trashy crap. It's not a big deal. If you like Twilight, you like Twilight. But man, I would pay an awful lot of money not to be stuck as a teenager forever. As a teen, this sucks. Yeah, seriously. Somebody was like, oh, like, you're like 43 now. Like, what would you do if you could be 25 again? I'm like, literally nothing. If you try and do that to me, you're in big trouble. I was an idiot at 25 and I didn't know how to do anything. Like, I would pay a lot of money not to go back to that. No shade against anybody who's 25. It's just people, it's like when you're young, you think that like being young is the best thing ever and that everybody over the age of 35 hates themselves and wishes they could be 25 again. No, not really, no. I mean, they probably wish they didn't, like, if they don't take care of themselves, maybe they have a bunch of aches and pains and wish they were physically younger to avoid those. But having an awful lot of experience in life and making things a lot easier for yourself and being more stable financially actually kicks a whole lot of ass. It's pretty great. I'm a teen and I'd like to age. That is a good thing to do. I would hate to be frozen as like 18 or 25. You miss out on a lot of different stages in life if you do that. Is Deacon a Twilight junkie? No, he's more like high fantasy, like elves and stuff. Will the hiatus game continue throughout the entire hiatus? I hope so. right now they have us slated for 8 episodes. There might be like 1 or 2 weeks at the end that it doesn't cover, but if people really like it and like the episodes and participate in the polls, I think I can convince my editor to let us tack like 2 more episodes on the end, which would be great. Like, listen, just like, I can't give you spoilers, even though I really want to. It's killing me. I really want to, but like, in like the next 2 or 3 episodes of this hiatus is gonna be like my favorite thing I've probably ever drawn in like the last 2 years. Or like Napple. And I just like am so stoked. Like, you guys are just gonna be like, oh my god. Like, you're gonna like the comments are just gonna blow up like, no, what? No, that's great. Like, seriously, I'm so happy. And like, you don't even understand. It's like, it's gonna be so stupid and like dumb and ultimately doesn't affect anything, but I showed it to Sene and Karen and they're like, okay, look, I don't always follow your stuff because I'm really busy, but please tell me when that episode goes up. I want to be there for that and the rest of the hiatus, please. And I'm like, yes, we will. We did this whole thing. Anyways, throwing like Napple's fine. That thing's committed so many crimes. Come on, it can be thrown. Yeah, I yeeted that Napple. So, yeah. So this, like I was saying, so the series, yeah, it did get a little darker around, you know, the finale, but finale should be dramatic. Come on, the finale of Gravity Falls, where literally the world was ending. Yeah, they called it Weird Mageddon, and there was jokes in between. But that one episode, remember where, right before the finale, where Mabel accidentally let the rift out, and like this cute little comedy cartoon that's so cute and wholesome just ends with like the flyer for Dipper and Mabel's birthday blowing in the breeze while you hear a bunch of screaming of the town people as their world is being torn apart. There's room in comedy to do crazy serious finales too. Aw, Sky, I'm really glad. I remember you from the last Q&A too. The facial features being rearranged. Yeah, sometimes they're just horror. If CB was a musical, I don't know, because like I'm not really, like, I like to listen to music, but I'm not really a musical fan, so I absolutely wouldn't know. What was I? Oh, that freaking broke me. Yeah, seriously, like, just sometimes people are like, oh, I don't like where this is going, it's turning serious. I'm like, guys, it's just temporary. It's just for the finale. Everything has to be dramatic in a finale. Come on. No matter how funny like a Disney movie is, there's always dramatic finales. Like Toy Story 3 much? Like, is there anybody who didn't cry when they're about to fall, like just be shoved to their deaths inside that incinerator? So yeah, you have to have high stakes so that people will care about the story and then eventually laugh harder at the jokes. But I got scared once Dear Mother has not even emerged yet. Dear Mother will emerge, maybe. But let's see here. What was I talking about? But yeah, no, season 2, we're gonna go right back to business as usual. There's gonna be a bunch of silly, there's gonna be a bunch of poignant, bittersweet, sad moments, happy moments, adventurous moments, thrilling moments, things like that. It's gonna be a mix of everything. But it's not like, oh, from now on, the series is going to be dramatic and serious and dark. No, it won't. It's still in the comedy category. Problem is, I really wanted to put it in the adventure category. But I was warned against that because they're like, there's so many series in the adventure and fantasy category that you're not ever going to have like a hope of ever being in the top 10. If you put it in the comedy category, that's a smaller category. You can at least try and get up to that like top 5 so that, you know, when you're reading the app and you see like on the sidebar, it's like more series you might like by category. It always shows the top 5 of each category. And if you can get into that top 5 slot in whatever category you're in, more people will see it. And that's so important to get more people to follow the series and make sure the series keeps making money and can keep continuing. So they're like, if you put it in comedy, you got a better shot of doing that. And I was like, yeah, well, it is a comedy, so let's just shove it in there. I don't have any voice claims. Like, I can hear their voices in my head, but I don't, since it's hard because voice claims depend on watching TV. Something that I really don't do. Anyways, let's see here. Almost done here. Jedzy, which SketchUp do you use to create the backgrounds, and are you allowed to use any of the models and materials in 3D Warehouse? This is a technical question about the 3D modeling that is used to make the backgrounds that are used in the webtoon. Because even though I've traditionally always hand-drawn all of my backgrounds in my other series, for this one, there's so much work involved in doing it every week and going to like palace after different castle and all these fantasy places. I physically don't have enough time every week to design a new palace or design a this or a that. So what we do is we use 3D models that we can then create and then position and use those. They're still very difficult to do, and they take hours and hours and hours to process in order to put them in the background. So they're not exactly shortcuts, but they're shorter cuts. And if you join the Patreon as a free member, you don't have to pay anything. You can watch videos that I just released a new one for free, where you can see how webtoon creators use those models and where they get them. I want to do like a whole tutorial showing people how to do this, like show you where you can buy models like that pre-made if you want to, how you can make your own. There's a program called Abler, which is completely free to use, and you can model the program like, because SketchUp is very expensive nowadays, but Abler is free to use, so you can, it's a lot more simple, but it's a free program. And good night, Nellie. To help with my art portfolio. Well, I don't put those pre-made backgrounds in my portfolio or anything like that. Like, you shouldn't put it in, like, if you want to say, look at my art, this is how I draw. I use them just like in webtoons, because webtoons are kind of like fast food. People expect a fast episode every week, every single week, every month for like a year. So it's more like fast food instead of fine dining. If I had a month to turn out one episode, I would draw all of those backgrounds by myself because I love drawing backgrounds. But anyways, so Gandalf Igglywampus, good name. Are we going to see who Buddy was before he turned into a key? Also, is Buddy the guy in the poster Jacob's Climb? A lot of people saw the poster for a band called Jacob's Climb in Chase's room and were like, he looks a lot like Buddy. He's not. It is just like, just a weird coincidence. He's just a guy with black hair who happens to have it cut sort of like Buddy's a little bit, but he's not that guy. You will see a lot of things about like season 2, like season 1 has all been about Chase and who he is and his backstory and his point of view. Season 2 is going to be like, not entirely. It's not going to be entirely from Buddy's point of view, but a lot of it will be from his point of view, including his backstory, where he came from, how he got into the place where he is right now, etc. Our dreams are just dreams. What genres of music do each of the characters like? Chase likes pop. Buddy likes classical. I don't know if it's because he wants to look smart. Deacon likes any soundtrack that comes from a pirate movie, especially Pirates of the Caribbean. Spoon asks, am I allowed to make the kiss scene in last episode my wallpaper for iPad? It is great. Yes, go for it. Jebby Forever. I'm a newer fan to this webtoon. How many episodes were there before it got made into originals? Okay, you guys didn't miss much when it was on Canvas. It was only up for about 11 episodes, and that sounds like a lot, but we had a space limit. Like, I could only upload 20 megs for each file on Canvas, which was not enough, which meant I had to take episodes and split them in two and make them like episode 1 is part 1 and episode 2 is part 2. So when I say there was like 11 or 12 episodes, it was really only like the first 6 episodes. You hardly saw anything of it before it got picked up for originals. How is your arm? Thank you, Becca. I just found out that it's like celiac related arthritis. So it's never going to get better. But if I'm very careful about my diet and continue to constantly do exercises and physical therapy, hopefully it will not progress. I'm going to be real with you guys. It's the kind of thing that just gets worse over time. But It's manageable, hopefully, for quite a long time with pain meds and physical therapy, exercise, resting it, ice, heating pads, blah, 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 blah. That's the only reason I would be like, I'd be 25 again, is not have to put up with this. Because this was just the natural progression of celiac. That sounds like a nightmare. Well, it's not ideal, but I stay positive. When I was doing my workout today, I just said to my trainer, I was like, let's just work around it. And he worked around it pretty well. And I still did, you know, all the exercises just fine. Honestly, like, the biggest problem is just not having a range of motion. Like, if I try to put my arm behind my back like that, that hurts. Or if I put my arm out to the side and then try to, like, twist it backwards, that kind of hurts. But, like, if I'm just moving it like this, that's not so bad. And the best thing for it really is exercise. So exercising will build up the muscle so that the joint isn't so weak and just relying on itself to move. What kind of dance does Chase do? Chase has had 4 years of more than one dance class. As we've seen, he likes to, like, embellish it. He said 4 years at once, and then he bumped it up to 6 years, and then he said 8 years, and clarified that it was 2 dance classes at the same time for 4 years. Therefore, they count as 8 years. He's a very exaggerated boy. But how does? Oh, hang on, before I answer that, how does the screenshot regulations work? Is it a toggle on the author's side? No, we do not. You do not understand how little we control. People think that authors on Webtoon are in control of everything. That we're in control of all the comment section. And we can do anything we want with that. We can delete and block and move people's comments. We can do this and that. Like, they think like Knuckles, that's prison. We do not control much. We don't decide when the episode goes up. People are like, they'll post like, can you post it just an hour earlier for me? I'm like, I do not control that. I'm not even the one who posts the episode. I turn the episode into Webtoon. They look it over, decide it's okay, and then they post it. If there's a mistake in it, I have to say to them, there's a mistake. I just uploaded a fixed version of that panel. Can you please re-upload it for me? And then they do it. Spooky, it's up to reader interpretation. What sports did Chase do minus wrestling and dance? I believe he also did soccer for a year. Thanks, Violet. Or Violent Toast. Violent Toast. They're not an evil dictator, they're a publisher. Imagine this. Imagine you worked very hard to create a very big publishing industry, and you're running something that's supposed to be all ages, at least across most of the platform. And one of your authors just has, if you give the authors the ability to upload whatever they want, they decide they're going to post up something horribly racist because they're weird and went off the deep end and don't understand anything anymore. and that they should keep their horrible opinions to themselves. Now people will go to your publisher as Webtoon and say, Webtoon, how could you let this happen? They get blamed for the content that is on their app. So they have to make sure that the content is okay. Forgot these people are characters with lives. Wait, they took it over for, like, how did that racist Webtoon get? No, there wasn't. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if they don't look things over first, somebody can just post something. If somebody's got, like, an all ages rating like me, and then just puts, like, somebody getting shot in the head for no reason in the middle of their episode, that's supposed to be all ages. A parent sees that and goes, Webtoon, how could you do this? They can't say, well, unfortunately, it's not up to us, like they upload their own episodes, because we have a contract. We have a publishing contract with them. They're responsible for the content that's on their app. So we upload it and then they post it. And that's just to make sure everything's posted at the same time, too. So anyways, let's see here. I have like 10 more questions. Are you taking it easy on the Red Bulls this time? Crazy kitten. I don't drink them anymore. Karma Girl asks, is Deacon really in love with Silver, or was it just a temporary thing? it was a one-off joke, guys, because she's very pretty. And he has a thing for, like, pretty, fabulously ungettable fantasy girls. It was a one-off thing. It wasn't ever mentioned again. He just feels kind of silly about it. It's just to show that Deacon has this, like, this thing where he falls for people in books, people he cannot have. He has this, like, very, like, idealized fantasy girl kind of thing. He's just a little guy. Yeah, you can have a crush on me. Yeah, exactly. So let's see here. The demon you love wrote, "Why are you making us simp for pieces of metal?" I don't make you do anything, bro. I'm not the boss of you. You do that on your own. Rex at Patria. I know this is late, but did you expect people to simp so hard for characters like Deacon, Bronze, or a random hot boy who may or may not be Simon? I figure it'd be easy to predict that people would latch onto Buddy or Chase, but I'm curious if you foresaw the other characters being so popular. Not really. Like, I just draw them the way that I think they should be. I really, people were like, that guy in the diner next to Chase. I'm like, Simon? Like, I just drew him as, like, a lazy guy. I didn't think he even looked that good. He's just, like, in, like, an oversized, like, coat, eating his ice cream parfait or whatever it is. I didn't really expect it. Alania, I know this isn't really related, but how are Talk and Dear Mother doing? Dear Mother is asleep, and Talk is on permanent vacation. That guy's so lazy. He doesn't run anything. He just left the whole running of Cinderella Boy up to like an apple. Let's see here. I see Nox has claustrophobia. I'm guessing that some sort of trauma happened for that. Will we see what happened in season 2? That's by Ron. Here's the thing. Sometimes, like, we all like to think that there's, like we've been told by movie psychology that phobias have some very specific, like, oh, well, this happened in your life, and that's why you have this phobia. Like, they have some one big thing that everybody can trace their phobia back to, and that was the start of it. That's not always how phobias work. Phobias are phobias because they're irrational. Like, a lot of times they don't have a real start. Like, I have a phobia of human hair. Don't ask me. If it's on my head, it's fine. If it's, like, on the floor, forget it. I will pay people to clean out my bathroom drain. I once did it myself the other, like 4 months ago, and I bragged about it to my friends online. I was like, I did it. I cleaned my own drain. There was never a moment in my life where something traumatic happened to me with hair. And also, I was just thinking back to it and remembering I didn't have that phobia in high school. But I did have it about 10 years later. So at some point then, I just developed it, but there was never, I can never point back to one point and be like, this is the exact moment. Nothing traumatic ever happened to me about human hair. I have a phobia of Cheetos. Look, I have a phobia of weird things. But yeah, there's, like, Violet know about Nox's view towards Chase. You gotta wait and find out. I have a fear of butterflies. Look, sometimes there's just no reason to have them. So when people say, like, will we find out about Buddy's phobia? We might or we might not. There might just not be a reason. Phobias do not always have some nice, neat little, like, this is when it all started, like, movie scene. Like, that, this is when it all began. I can point to this exact moment. Sometimes they just don't really have a cause. I mean, there's phobias. If you read up lists of phobias, there's things like the fear of wave or wave-like motions. When did wave or wave-like motions attack you as a child? Like, when would you ever develop that? There's, like, one of, like, the fear of the giant mole rat, which apparently a non-zero number of people have. There's one fear that's a fear of, like, just some animal. Like, I don't remember what it's called, but it's completely imaginary. And, so yeah, it's just, I don't know. Fee, I guess? Is it Fee? Like La Jeune Fille? Like F-I-L-L-E? Will there be more Silver and Deacon content, or was it a one-time thing? It's kind of a one-time thing. I think he'll probably reference it as a joke, like, a couple of times. You know, like, well, we might see it be mentioned, but if you're hoping that that's going to be endgame for them, like everybody else, he is stuck in Silver's friend zone. Her friend zone is big enough to accommodate everybody. So, okay, so this was posted on January. Demetria Za. Today is my birthday. It's a milestone birthday, but instead of having fun with friends and family, I'm spending $1,200 on car repair and canceling birthday dinner for the southern snowstorm tonight. That said, thanks for making a fun story with great characters that have many moments that have me suddenly burst out laughing. This is one of the few series I've taken the time to reread to see if I missed anything. Thank you for the great storytelling, romance, and comedy. Demetria, happy very late birthday. I'm so sorry that happened. I'm sorry. That sounds like it sucks. This wasn't a question. I just had to read it out. Like, I'm sorry. Silver friend zone is the size of Earth. Exactly. The entire Earth could fit in Silver's friend zone. Good night, Sky. Okay, Avocado Kitty. If I read on Tuesdays because that's what Webtoon says it releases on rather than the night the episode's released, does that count for WUB clubbing? As long as they're weekly unique browser hits. You don't have to read the new episode the minute it hits. Like if episodes come out, like some people say the episode comes out on Tuesday, some people Monday night. For them, it depends on your time zone. For me, they come out Monday nights at 9 p.m. You don't have to read the episode the minute it comes out. Anytime that week. As long as you come back once a week, you're in the WUB club. Just come back once a week, and like you don't even really need to read the whole episode. Just click on it if you want. It's no big. Hit the WUB plug. WUB. Does WUB require you to go through the whole comic? No. Oh, it's a weekly unique browser hit. You just have to go click on the episode. You don't have to read the whole thing. You just have to click on it. That's all. So if you're FastPass and you're like, oh, I already read this episode last week, so I don't have to go back and read it this week. I already know what's going to happen because I FastPassed it. If you want, just come back that week anyways when it goes to free and just click on it. Come collect this once, like scroll and then just leave. It counts. ZZ asks, are you ever going to make it ads? People keep asking this. Will the first FastPass episode please be like ad episode? You watch an ad and then you get to watch the episode. We can't do that right now, and Webtoon doesn't want to do it right now because the series is really small, and the way we get paid for that and the way that it's monetized, it just doesn't make any sense to do it for my series right now. It really works better on like series that have like 400,000 followers, or like just like a lot of followers. And so Webtoon does want to do it in the future, and I would like to. Anything to get free readers another chance to read without having to pay. It just doesn't make any sense financially right now. So hopefully when the series gets bigger, we get more people in season 2, then we can think about doing that. I do like the smaller fandoms though. They are very homey. It's like I feel like I know everybody in them. Guys, what is WUB? Weekly unique browser hits. Just go back and click on episodes once a week and you'll be helping to keep the series going. Does WUB require a Webtoons account? Well, it says it's weekly unique browser hits, so I don't know if you actually need an account to do that. Maybe not though. It just says browser hit, so I guess it just registers a browser hit, not whether or not you're actually signed in. Heavenly Plays, yes, they did have small episodes, but here's the thing, like Heavenly Plays says there were some series that were very small, but they had ads to them. The thing is that thanks to how great you guys are, the fandom for Cinderella Boy is so dedicated that they actually they slightly outspend on FastPass those other small series. It makes more sense for those other small series to try the ad because they're not getting any FastPass money anyways. I'm not saying that series you did definitely is that. Like, oh, they're not getting anything. I don't know. None of us know what everybody else's numbers are. It's just that when you look at it, it's a finance thing, and they're like, if you look at the Cinderella Boy fandom, they are just dedicated enough that they are unique among some of the smaller fandoms and that they are willing to pay more there's a lot of series out there where you'll see like even like 400,000 viewers, or like you'll see a huge number for subscribers and a huge number for hits, but they might not make as much money because people simply don't fast pass them. Or you might see a really small fandom like this where it doesn't make like the big numbers, but it may make more on average than another small series might, because people are really into it and really dedicated and really want to support it. We are built different. Yeah, look, I can't talk about all of it because we won, but at what cost? Well, here's the thing. It just needs to grow a little bit more to outdo that, and then we can have ads, all right? Look, the numbers are complicated. It's not something I can very easily explain, especially since I'd have to give you numbers, and I'm not allowed to do that. That's not something the publisher wants you to do. I can't just start talking about their accounting. Right now, I feel like we're right on the cusp of getting enough followers that it would make sense to have the ad, and it would be a good idea, and it would be profitable and wouldn't lose money. We're like very close. I feel very close to it in season 2. Okay, so Manure Luca, do Chase like strawberry? Yes, his favorite birthday cake, as we will see in season 2, is strawberry, and his mom usually makes him one every year. Dandelion blooms. I need to know who fell first. Chase fell first, Buddy fell harder. Just like the meme. Little Bean of Sicily. Will Like Mapple marry me? I don't know if Like Mapple is legally allowed to marry people. They've done some crimes. Will Prunella have a silly little character arc? Yes. Can you please also put the Q&A answers in on YouTube? Yes, I will. Dumpster Fire Kai. How do you write scripts for the episodes or plan them out? We're getting to the end of this, so that's all answered in the Q&A before this one. So if you're watching this now, just go on YouTube. There's another one before this one, and it'll tell you. AK, I'm Chase Hollow, in parentheses. What's Chase's skincare routine? I'm so glad you asked. He does the 3-day cycling, you know, just like moisturizing, exfoliation, and then treatments, you know, retinoids, or retinol for him. He shouldn't use retinoid at his age, but retinol or possibly hyaluronic acid. I think he joked that he had a 15-step skincare routine, but since those long, many multi-step Korean skincare things have kind of fallen out of popularity, I think maybe he's cut down. He's been like, oh, that's the old thing. I don't do that anymore. Now it's all about the 3-day cycling. Definitely been waiting for this. I love skincare an awful lot. You don't understand. Listen to me. I'm 43 and I don't have any wrinkles in my eyes. None. Do you know how all my friends are just like, Punko, how come I have wrinkles and you don't? And I said, sunscreen. Sunscreen. If I wasn't going to be an artist, I would want to be a dermatologist because I care a lot about skin. Let's see here. How many keys are there by Chicken Winner? There are 12 story keys. I bet Naruto makes a great moisturizer. And that's the last question. That's the last one. And a text from my mom. What's mom have to say? Hope she's not watching this. It's just my mom and my sister saying they're not going to watch the news because it's killing their health and their head is going to explode. 25, yeah, no. Will we get to see the other keys? Yes, you will. So, we will... Listen, guys, take care of your skin. Wear your sunscreen. At least 55 SPF broad spectrum. Why am I thinking of Comcast? Look, UVA, UVB, just buy the Neutrogena Dry Touch, okay? It's like oil-free, it doesn't clog your pores, it makes a great base for your makeup, and it's terrific, and you should wear it. If there's one thing you should take away from this besides that ambulance thing, wear your sunscreen, okay? It takes like 30 seconds to apply. Don't think that the makeup will tell you it has sunscreen in it. Makeup has as much sunscreen in it as there is vitamin A in Fruit Loops. Yeah, I'm sure there's like a tiny amount, but you're not eating Fruit Loops because they're healthy. It's like Fruity Pebbles telling you it's full of vitamin A and vitamin C. It's like, yeah, you look on the back and it's like 0.1% of your daily allotment of that. The sunscreen and makeup is a lie. It's garbage. It doesn't do anything for you. It's just there as like an advertisement thing to make you feel better about wearing the makeup. Just don't. Oh, my pronouns are she, her. Are there other magical beings in Cinderella Boy? I don't know, like extended universe or something. Anyways, what are you most excited for in season 2? Oh, kind of everything. I'm excited to introduce new characters that I really love. New keys. If you guys are in the Patreon Discord, you know which key I'm talking about, because we've already met them secretly ahead of time. There was a drawing of them for Doodle Friday, and they were mentioned in Chase's diary. They're gonna turn up. Don't, guys, I know you know who it is, don't mention them. But they read about them, and they're like, this is already my new favorite kid. Like, this is my new, I can't wait until they show up. And I was like, they're so cute. If Buddy did a sport, what would you do? Chess. Whatever he has to move the least for. He's incredibly lazy, like physically lazy. He's very dedicated to whatever he considers to be his job, or like he has to do. But if left to his own devices, I think he'd just lay on the couch and watch TV and eat chocolate bars all day. I do know that, oh, did Chase ever realize Buddy was a vampire? He did. It was also, again, mentioned in Chase's diary. Chase's diary not only covers stuff that goes on in Sugar Springs, he also reflects on what's happened in past episodes from his point of view. He didn't react to Buddy being a vampire because, as he said, he kind of like, he doesn't want to admit it, but he kind of hints that he already likes Buddy so much anyways, that him being a vampire couldn't possibly improve Buddy in any way. He was already really great. Chase, you know, he likes vampires for their gimmick. They got like a fantasy gimmick. It's like, you know, ooh, fantasy vampire boyfriend. But Buddy is a real person to him. So he matters more. He doesn't need a gimmick for Chase to like him. His diary is very silly. So let's see. What was the one? I was gonna say, guys, like one more thing. What was it? Oh, right. Okay. So season 2, we are doing a slight art upgrade. Don't worry. It's not like everybody's gonna look different. Just don't. You've already seen part of it in the hiatus. You saw Deacon's Freckles 2.0. He got his season 2 Freckles upgrade. Instead of me doing like the lazy 5 dots on his cheek, he's got an actual like more realistic spray of freckles across his nose. So, oh, they're so cute. Were the wolves in the vampire arc actually werewolves? I think they were just like, I don't know. Like, that book was so bad, they might have been werewolves. Like, you can imagine the person who wrote that book, like, started writing them as werewolves, but then forgot to, like, change them halfway through, so it just seems like they're just regular wolves. Werewolf. Just Big Boy Freckles. He did get Big Boy Freckles. The other art upgrade is people kept saying that they thought the characters looked too young for how old they're supposed to be. And I have a bad problem with that. Like, every character I've ever drawn, I swear looks too young. And I finally hit on it. It's the head to body ratio. That's the problem. That's my problem, is their heads are too big in comparison to their bodies to be reading as fully adult. It may be like, you know, like it works as like a style choice, but I think it throws a lot of people off. So the only other real upgrade to the art in season 2 is that I'm just gonna like, you won't even really notice it very much unless you're looking for it. We're just gonna shrink their heads a tiny bit so that their bodies look a little bit bigger, so they have more like older adult proportions. Will Deacon's freckles stay like that in season 2? Yes. I know, like, also to me, I'm 43, like, 18-year-olds look like tiny babies. I'm just like, you can drive? Who let you drive? It's just a thing when you get older. Like, everybody who's, like, under 19 just looks like a tiny little child to you. like, as you grow older, younger people look younger. It's really weird. Bye-bye bobblehead. Puberty hitting Chase hard. Yeah, so it's yeah, no, the keys have bigger heads to differentiate them from human proportions. So yes, that will stay the same. They won't change. Um, we will be doing merch, and yes, I know the deleted half scene. I'm so close to working on it, but I had to get right into season 2 and then the hiatus stuff. And unfortunately, my arm was so screwed up. It's better now that I've been doing the exercises and the physical therapy, but it was so bad that I couldn't draw at all. I could barely lay down to sleep at night. So I am trying, you will get it. I'm sorry. I kept saying, I feel really bad, like really, really bad, because I was like, I keep telling them I'm going to put this out, and I just got to finish drawing this one thing, and then I got to color it, and then I got to put it together, and I got to letter it. And, so yeah, like Napple should do it. I'm trying. Chase has a big head, like metaphorically and physically. But yes, I am working on it, and can the keys change their hairstyles? Like maybe in the books, but they're kind of solid. They're kind of a rubbery metal. They're like a living bendable metal when they're keys. So when people ask, can Bronze unbraid his braid when he's in key form? No, he cannot. But if he went into a book, he could unbraid his hair. Does Chase have contacts, or did I make that up? He doesn't have contacts, but I think he has reading glasses he never uses. I think like the doctor got him for him, was like, you don't really need these, but like you kind of need them, but they're good to keep around. Just, use them to read. And he's like, yeah, sure. And then he never did, because I do the same thing. I have glasses. Because, which even the doctor said, like, really wouldn't help me, which is great. And I wish I'd known that before I spent like $260 on them. Because I'm farsighted in one eye and nearsighted in the other. It's a condition. It's got a long name. It's annoying because what it does is people are like, oh, that's great. You just like, your eye can just kind of like balance it out. Like, no, your brain wants to use, in this condition, your brain wants to use one eye at a time instead of both of them together. It wants to keep switching back and forth. Like when I'm looking long over here at the camera, I see that, and then I look down and it takes a second for my eyes to refocus, and it starts using the other eye to look at something much closer, like right here next to me. So I have not entirely, but sort of monocular vision, which means I don't have as much depth perception. And if you don't believe me, I was on a TV show on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2017 that it was like a reality competition show, and they would pull us into these confessionals to do these little like confessional things every so often. The very first thing they asked is, why are you so clumsy? Because I kept dropping things or knocking things over. When I reach for things, I don't see how far away they are, and I'll end up knocking them over because everything looks like a flat postcard to me. The first time I put those glasses on that the doctor gave me that I hate wearing, but I put them on and I was like, oh my god, it's like I'm in a pop-up book. It's like those glasses for people who are colorblind and can suddenly see color with them. I was like, how do you people live with knowing everything is very close and very far away? Like, I want to go back to my flat postcard life. I've adapted to it. I can even drive with it. Like, this is horrifying. I'm very, very concerned with how close things are to me and also far away. And I took them off like, oh god, that was horrible. Real life is terrible. Yeah. It's just, I can't tell you that Eye of the Universe. You'll just have to wait for it in season 2. I have the same sight problem. Holly the Wally, you should go and get looked at. Go get looked at. The problem is the glasses don't really help all that much because all they do is give you a massive headache. They're supposed to train your brain to try and use both eyes at the same time, but even the doctor's like, it doesn't really work. I'm like, then why are you making me buy the glasses? My mom's like, just get the glasses. So, well, we get to see all the keys in human form. I think, I will tell you, like, I'm not going to say, like, everybody or nobody or whatever, but I will tell you, we'll see human Goldie. I am looking forward to that. That'll be fun. What is Violet's favorite snack? Oh, I tried, Levi. I tried for months to get used to them. The problem is, like, the condition that we have, it has nothing to, it has to do with your brain not wanting to use both eyes at the same time. So it's like, it's not so much your eyes getting used to them. They even admit, even in literature about our condition, they're just like, it's just, it never, like, glasses really don't help that much. Because they can't force your brain to keep doing that all the time. It's a pain in the ass. But, So let's see here. What was I answering? Oh, Violet's favorite snack. I don't have any on me, but I did order some more. There are these mints that are called violet mints. They're called Choward's Violet Mints. They're basically breath mints, but instead of tasting like mint, he invented them to be flavored like flowers, which sounds disgusting, but it's not. They're these little square wafers, like really thin little pastilles or like lozenges that are a light purple. They're a very, very light purple or violet. And the only thing I can say is they taste like the color lavender. Like if you've ever wondered what lavender tastes like, that's the color. They're sugary and they're not overpowering. They're very, very subtle, but I think they're very delicious. And sometimes I just eat them. And only one place makes them and has since like the 1920s or something. And I like to think that Violet really likes those because they're violet mints. And is just like, I demand somebody order me this extremely obscure candy to eat. Do you come up with the plot for the hiatus as the choices are made, or do you have a plot planned for each route? I do have alternate routes, depending on what you will pick. I don't just wait for you to make the choice and then plot it out, because I have to plan in the future, like, different art and everything. Like, more art will be added to later episodes and everything. So, even though there's, like, a main plot that it kind of follows, there's different, like, ways that the alternate routes can follow that main plot. But yeah, I didn't know people were going to pick Buddy for the tour. I was so sure Deacon would win because the Deacon stands are so loud. Which is fine. But, is there a theory about season 1 that you found hilarious? Probably Buddy being Diane's grandson. I was just like, they're gonna be annoyed if they find out that's not true. Will Grandpa Ralph be important to the story? He's always important. He's just important by being there. He's actually named after my dad, Ralph, who has passed away and was also in the army. Although if my dad found out that I was making his character do yoga and bake, he'd make me go to my room. You should have gone with the horse guy anyways. That's what I was telling you. Well, Heavenly Place, here's the thing. I thought Deacon might win because the Deacon stands are so very loud on Tumblr. How much can we deviate from the main plot? Can we break the game? No, you can't break it. It's okay. Listen, people are like, oh, if I don't get the choice I want, things aren't going to turn out. Literally every plot route is good. If you pick something and it doesn't work out like the way you wanted, it's fine. You're not missing out on anything super important. Yeah, like there's like certain reactions and certain things that you won't see like for this character, but you're going to see an equally good one for this character. Like you got to see Buddy's tour where he's telling you about the history of Taco Tuesday and all this other stuff. Whereas if you had taken Chase's tour, he would have given you a very silly tour and he would have said equally silly things, although obviously not those facts. They're different, but equally entertaining. So there are no wrong choices. Don't be like, oh, if we don't pick this, you guys, we gotta pick this one, we gotta pick this one. Like, don't overthink it. It's just for the hiatus. It's just for fun, and everything is equally entertaining. You won't miss out. Like, anything that's really important where I was like, oh my god, if this isn't in it, I'm just gonna die. Those are guaranteed to happen no matter what route you take. Everybody, like, no matter which routes you go, there are certain key entertaining points in the story that will happen in all 3 routes. So you're not missing out on anything big. What about Deacon's tour? I think Deacon's tour would have been enormously awkward and probably would have started and ended at the stables. Are they all pre-drawn? There is an awful lot of pre-drawn stuff. That's why I had to take a few weeks to work on it. There might be things drawn that don't actually end up getting used, but very, very few. Is Cashley always going to be interested in Buddy, or is she interested in the guy giving the tour? I will give you a hint. No matter who you go on the tour with, Cashley shows an interest in them. But it's funny the different ways she shows interest in the other characters. Can you read my username so I can show my brother? Ruby is really cool. Take that, Ruby brother. Now, we never left the stables in that tour. horse, another horse. Yeah, you probably would get like very like personally introduced to every horse in the stables. The idea of the teachers having to climb through the windows. When I was in English class, senior English class at U.S. Smith High School in Connecticut, before they redesigned the north wing of the school, we had these huge, like really tall, long windows that opened up that were picture windows. And we were on the first floor, and we used to just, when class was over, the teacher would be like, okay, guys, don't go out there. And we'd be like, see ya. And then we'd all walk out the window and go out the window and cross the lawn. And then, because the window was a shortcut to the other building of the high school. Like, if you gotta use the door, go all the way around through the corridor of the north wing, go out the front door of the north wing when you could just go out the window. And so they put up a sign like, please use the door, we paid good money for it. But yes, we would exit and enter the class for that English class, and most of the English classes in that wing, through the windows instead of through the door itself. I want to use a window instead. So we're stuck with Buddy the rest of hiatus. Not necessarily. No. CT mentioned. Not complaining. You said you were finishing up. I know, it always goes a little bit longer because I have to stop and answer your questions here. I can only estimate from what I have on my, from what you posted online. I'm happy to be stuck with him. It's okay. It's okay because, listen, it's okay because no matter who you pick or no matter who you end up with, you're going to get a good ending. And you're going to see all the funny stuff and it's going to be entertaining. So don't worry about it. Window option, best option. I do have so many funny college stories. That was not even from college, that's from high school. Going out the window was high school. It was a very weird school, okay? I just want to say. I've been here from the very start. Who is Like Napple? Oh, Like Napple's blackmailing me. I can't tell any of his past crimes. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to reveal that information. Is there anything in the main series you wish you could go back and change or fix? I'd probably like update the art. The art was kind of shaky at the beginning, but not as bad as when I've done other series. I think it was pretty good. I would probably fix up the art a little bit. Free Punko! I hope someday we get to see a human violet. Alright, I'm gonna go because I'm losing my voice and I still have a lot of work to do tonight. And then finally be able to get some sleep. So, excuse me. Oh, thank you for the bits, guys. I was so busy concentrating on all the questions and everything, I didn't notice the bits. Thanks for the bits, guys. Hi, Bye Lucy, bye Spooky. Bye Trans Mermaid Pirate, bye Luca, bye Cry Me. Bye GH Pepper. Going too fast. Bye Pocket Watch. Okay, bye Flute Ham. Okay, so I can't keep up with all of these. Everybody saying bye. Too many. All right, I'm gonna go and I will post this up tomorrow in case you missed some of it. Okay, I'll put it up. It's gonna take a while to process, but I'll put it up on YouTube and then I'll put a link in the creator feed. If you haven't given a like to the newest episode in the hiatus, please do now. And please remember to like every future episode. It makes me happy and it makes WEBTOON happy. So that indirectly makes me happy. So I will see you guys later. Thanks very much for coming. Uh-oh. Ooh. I just noticed I hit I hit streaming on this when I started, but I didn't hit record. So, I hope I can grab the video off of Twitch and export it over to my YouTube. Otherwise, I might not be able to. You might have to, whoever wants to see it might have to watch it on Twitch for like the next 20 days before they remove it. Boy, that was stupid. I hope I can still fix it up for you. I'll see you later. I'll figure something out. Bye, guys. Thanks very much for coming, and I'll see you later.